WING 1410 Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's the Justin Kinner Show, live here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
What's the saying? Once a Buckeye, always a Buckeye.
Unless you're Tate Martell.
Tate Martell on the move again.
Yet again.
Tate Martell back in the transfer portal. Letterman Rowe reported this as well as many other Buckeye outlets just about an hour ago, 2 hours ago. But ready for a final shot at football, Tate Martell re-enters the transfer portal. And I really don't even know what the story is as far as what even didn't work out in Miami. We all know really kind of what led to his departure from Ohio State. Anytime you have a chance to get a talent like Justin Fields, I think it made it pretty damn easy for the Buckeyes to move on from that situation. And obviously Tate Martell being more of an Urban Meyer guy that was a part of that, and Ryan Day trying to establish his guys on that roster. But whatever went wrong in Miami, switched positions multiple times, went to quarterback, then receiver, then back to quarterback, then back to not playing at all, left the school. There was all these random reports about Tate Martell. There's this beef between his girlfriend and his mom going back and forth on social media, yelling at one another, accusing one another of why he's not in football. And it was just a complete mess. I don't know where he ends up. I don't know where he could end up, but we've talked about before just how jumbled up that transfer portal actually is. Mm-hmm. Good luck finding a spot. I'm sure he'll find one, but I don't think it's going to be another power. It may not be one of the top Power 5 jobs out there. I promise you that much.
Yeah, man. The transfer portal is a mess. I mean, I'm all about people trying to get their spot, you know what I'm saying, everything like that. I believe that student athletes should be allowed to transfer to any school that they want to and everything like that. But these are unintended consequences when you have the transfer portal. You have tons of guys who are unhappy, so they decide to transfer, and then they end up with nowhere to transfer to because, there's only 85 scholarships per team. So then you're left in the wind or going to a school that you never imagined you would be going to. And Tate Martell's situation is a tad bit different because obviously he was a highly touted coming out of high school, but even before that, he went to like 2 different high schools. He was on the TV show, and, you don't want to judge anybody's character off of a TV show because it's entertainment, it's a TV show. But I did watch it, and every vibe that I got from him was he was an entitled kid. That's fine. There's plenty of entitled people out there in the world who make great athletes, so that's no knock on him. But when you come to Ohio State and at the time, he was biding his time because obviously he was behind JT, he was behind Dwayne Haskins, and then obviously Justin Fields. And then that's when everything really started to hit the road for him. And, he transfers to the U, can't win that starting position, sits out last year because of COVID and everything. Comes back to the team, and now it's going to transfer yet again. It's a hot mess. And for any program out there, you don't want that hot mess on your team. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, when you watch the TV show, he seemed like an entitled brat. You know what I'm saying? And he's 17. So I would question any 17-year-old out there who has it all, mapped out and all buttoned up and mature. I would say you're not really living a life of a teenager. But for him in this situation that he finds himself in, it's a mess, man. I honestly, I feel bad for the kid because, he got bad advice along the way. I was always a proponent of him, if you don't win the starting job at Ohio State, just stick it out. I know it's easy for me to say, but, I look at examples like Jalen Hurts, who ended up graduating from Alabama and then transferred to a great situation in Oklahoma, and now got drafted to like the 2nd or 3rd round in the NFL, got some starts underneath his belt in the NFL and everything like that. I think that is something to say about a person's character who, you stick it out through the tough times, because from everything that we know about Tate Martell and have seen about Tate Martell, he's been the most athletic person on the team and just been better than everybody. So it was like, all right, man, you're the man. You really didn't have to work for it. You put him in a situation. Obviously, he was going to have to work for it at Ohio State to get on the field. He wasn't willing to work that second time. He was willing to work as a freshman and a sophomore and everything like that, but he wasn't willing to work for the opportunity to be the starting quarterback when Justin Fields came. So he figured, all right, I'll go to Miami. Wasn't able to beat out the other guys, wasn't willing to work his way onto the field this past year, and now he's in limbo again.
Yeah, and I'm curious where he ends up, honestly, but we'll keep an eye. I mean, I found it interesting. I mean, I followed Miami just a bit, just to kind of get a feel. Well, I always just poke fun at the typical once a Buckeye, always a Buckeye, unless you're Tate Martell, just because of how Buckeye fans just literally were trying to take credit for as much of Joe Burrow's success as possible, but yet no one claims Tate Martell over here. So that's what the joke, once a Buckeye, always a Buckeye, unless you're Tate Martell, comes from. But nonetheless, so we'll get into some more college football stuff coming up around the corner. You keep in mind that right now ESPN just released their way too early top 25 for next season. Ohio State, not 1, not 2, not 3. Just how far down in the top 10 do they have the Ohio State Buckeyes? And at least they are in the top 10 at that. We have a lot to get into today. We're going to have some baseball Hall of Fame talk, as well as Reds offseason news and notes. Hall of Famer Hal McCoy, who has a baseball Hall of Fame vote, he's going to join us at 4 o'clock. We're going to kind of get into some of the issues that are surrounding, not just, yes, Major League Baseball. I know it's not the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, but the Baseball Hall of Fame, but it's still a bad look for baseball as a whole for what is going on right now. And it's difficult because, I look at guys like high character guys who have Hall of Fame votes like a Hal McCoy. You look at, ESPN, there's quite a few actual Hall of Fame voters there as well. In fact, I heard Jeff Passan earlier today say he actually was so disgusted with where the Hall of Fame was going that he got rid of his vote. He's one of ESPN's main baseball analysts there, Tim Kirkshin, who's a regular on the show too. I mean, he has a Hall of Fame vote, and he's such a high character guy. So Hal McCoy, Tim Kirkshin, these guys, all high character guys that have votes. But then there's others who I do believe not take advantage of it, but they don't share the responsibility correctly of what they do with that vote, and that's what led to the mess that happened. No players, no Hall of Fame selections at all for this year's Major League Baseball I shouldn't say Major League Baseball, this year's Baseball Hall of Fame. But it kind of works out because you honor last year's Baseball Hall of Famers who couldn't be honored because of COVID. Now you could just take that class and enter it over here. It's to honor them when that time comes. So it's going to be an interesting move, but I'm excited to talk with Hal McCoy coming up. But I did want to open up with that. And 457-9464, that's the number to call in and join in on the conversation. But Curt Schilling is an interesting character. Curt Schilling, I'm going to use in this, and I give Stephen A. Smith a lot of credit earlier today, who was able to separate the person, Curt Schilling, and the baseball player, Curt Schilling. And I think we need to do more of that when it comes to this situation, because the last I checked, the gates to heaven seem a lot easier to get into than the actual Hall of Fame. And it drives me nuts because I think we need to do a better job as sports fans of really not investing so much investing so much emotional time. I don't know if it's time. I don't even know how to word that, but we need to stop investing so much of our emotional self into these players in regards to holding them above just what they are, players. I look at Curt, and I remember Curt Schilling, the baseball player. I saw firsthand just how difficult he could be out of the game. I remember years ago, I met Tim Kirkshin and Aaron Boone. It was at, Sunday Night Baseball. It was the Cubs and the Cardinals, and they were there. In fact, it was because of Hal McCoy that Aaron Boone, I threw out his name, and he looked at us, and he called us back, and we got to go kind of sit back there with Tim Kirkshin and Aaron Boone. This was before Boone took the Yankees job. And all of a sudden, I look behind me, and all of a sudden I hear someone just berating somebody, and it's Curt Schilling, mad at one of the ESPN producers because I guess he had put the lapel mic on him. And I think he thought that the lapel mic was off, or he thought that the producer had taken it off. And when he walked away, he pulled the cord and all the equipment off the table and just went off on the guy. So that has nothing to do with the Hall of Fame. That has nothing to do. But it was from that point where I was like, I just looked at him different. It was one of those few times because I'm not fortunate enough to hang around with these guys like that. So the rare times that I do, you kind of get to see a different side. And sometimes you're very flattered, and sometimes it's super cool. And then other times you wish you hadn't met some people because then you look at them differently. That was 5 or 6 years ago. And I think it's wrong to look at who Curt Schilling votes for. I think it's wrong to maybe use what he says, which I don't agree with anything he says on social media about certain situations. I think that this is one of those moments where you take that and cast it aside and look at Curt Schilling, the player. not Kurt Schilling, the person, or, not Kurt Schilling, the person. It drives me nuts. He's done and said some despicable things, but at the end of the day, I really do think that he is a Hall of Famer. Roger Burton on Facebook says nobody getting voted in was so right. Kurt Schilling, really. Look at Kurt Schilling's numbers. In fact, I talked to Schlemmer earlier today. Schlemmer doesn't think Schilling is a Hall of Famer, and he is borderline too. But I think that what helps is what he did in the postseason.
Right.
I mean, he was a face of the success that those teams had. But look, he finished runner-up in Cy Young voting 3 straight times. He won. He had multiple 20-win seasons during a time that was right around the time it was starting to become difficult to get to 20 wins.
Right.
Now it's difficult to get to 20 starts.
Right.
So he had multiple 20-win seasons. Runner-up in Cy Young at least 3 times. He finished in top 5 at least once outside of those runner-up. As far as Cy Young votes goes. My thing is look at all the games he won. Multiple 20-win seasons during the steroid era.
Right.
The pitchers have been – I know that a lot of pitchers have been accused of using steroids. Roger Clemens is one of those, which is why, of course, he's not in the Hall of Fame as we currently speak. But I look at Kurt Schilling, and I'm like, look at the success he had against every batter that was using steroids. I mean, that was peak steroid era, and he was dominating through that. So, again, I know that he's kind of on the fence guy, but I think what I'm asking, the moral clause in the Hall of Fame drives me nuts. It should not be easier to get into heaven than it should be to get into the Hall of Fame, and that's what drives me nuts with this. And I think that's what's unique about the Hall of Fame is you do have reporters and media members who have covered the sport their entire lives, but I also don't like the personal grudges sometimes that are held against players that keep them out. We'll talk with Hall of Famer Hal McCoy around the corner. He is against certain guys getting into Hall of Fame because of the steroid usage. That's different.
Yeah.
Steroid usage is considered cheating. Yes. That's different. Kurt Schilling, not defending his views. I'm not even talking, but I don't think that just because you don't like his views, that's why you should keep him out of the Hall of Fame. If you have I don't think he was good enough argument. I'm here all day. That's what's fun about these debates. But I'm not a fan of when I hear certain people say, oh, no, he's rubbed too many people the wrong way. He's not getting into Hall of Fame. Whoa. That's not how this should work. I think that's wrong.
We had this conversation yesterday about Antonio Brown.
Yes.
And the things that he has done off the field. You and I both believe he's a Hall of Fame wide receiver. And I think Kurt Schilling is a bigot and a racist. But he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame because he's a bad mofo on that mound. You know what I'm saying? Like, he got it done, and he got it done when everybody said he couldn't get it done. Got it done in the playoffs, got it done with the Boston Red Sox. He's bleeding out of his ankle and all this crazy stuff, like this type of stuff that Disney movies are made of.
Yep.
And he had those moments, and he had them on the biggest stage. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't like him as a person, but hey, when they were on, I was watching him. So what? He's a racist. Okay. And that ain't got nothing to do with what he did on the baseball field. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. And the Baseball Hall of Fame has always been weird to me. Like, when you say Hall of Famer, it should go like that.
Yep.
And when you have guys like Ken Griffey Jr. who don't get 100% of the vote because, that's tradition, it's stupid. When you have guys like Derek Jeter who should get 100% of the vote and don't, is stupid. Those things about
it's
baseball
stupid because the guy that didn't vote for him, he said the guy that didn't vote for Jared Jeter had the belief of no one should be a first ballot Hall of Fame.
Stupid.
Just like those are the petty, those are where the personal biases come into play versus, like I made sure to emphasize the high character guys that have votes, guys such as Hal McCoy, who we're going to talk to at 4, Tim Kirkshin, and guys like that who, just respect the game, that don't let personal biases get in the way. If you don't believe someone should be in because of steroids, even though I would disagree, I could at least understand why, hey, I believe this person cheated the game. That's why I don't want him in.
Right.
Hey, this guy cheated on his wife. I don't want him in. Or this guy voted for Donald Trump. I don't want him in. I don't think that is it's not that I don't think. I know that is
not
wrong.
fair at all. That's completely wrong. One has nothing to do with the other. You can dislike somebody as a person, but you should be supposed to be voting on their baseball career. His baseball career, in my opinion, he should be in the Hall of Fame. He's done enough. He's won enough big games on the biggest stage. He should be in. And I mean, this happens in football too. We talk about T.O. and, T.O., I believe he has the second, when he retired, he had the second most receiving yards behind Jerry Rice and everything like that. And he didn't get in on the first ballot and everything like that, which is ridiculous. All because he didn't get along with reporters and everything like that. People tend to hold grudges against these athletes and hold them to a standard that they don't even hold themselves to. You know, some people out there hold athletes to a higher standard than they do their children's teachers. You know what I'm saying? So that is like, we as a people, you know, being all high and mighty about how people should act. You might want to look in the mirror, man, because I'm 100% sure all of us, including myself, don't do everything 100% of the time on the up and up. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. And like I knew this was going to be an interesting conversation, because I think that's why I made sure to emphasize that we as fans sometimes need to do a better job of really, you know, not investing so much of our emotional capital into these guys. Like you know, sometimes they're just baseball players. Like I mentioned, I brought up the Curt Schilling example of what I saw behind the scenes, you know, 5 years ago, because before I even knew who he was as a person, after that, that's who I knew. I'm like, man, he's just not a nice dude. Like he seems like a nice guy on TV. He seems fun. And then you see that. And that's not why I'm saying, you know, you see my point, though. It's like when you kind of get to know sometimes who these guys are behind the scenes, it's not always what you think it's going to be.
Yeah, the saying is you don't want to meet your heroes because it'll destroy you. You know, as a kid, if you grew up rooting for LeBron James and then you finally get a chance to meet LeBron James and he's an a-hole, you're going to be crushed. I don't care how old you are. You know what I'm saying? But from all accounts, LeBron James is a stand-up guy. There's stories about Michael Jordan being a jerk to adults and then being signing autographs for kids left and right, but then not signing autographs for adults. Randy Moss the same way. Like, I don't sign autographs for adults. I don't take pictures with adults. It's do it for kids. So it's like, you know, when you become an adult, that's when you really can stress your opinion and then have some weight behind it. As a kid, you know, you don't have that power. So when you meet these people, they are just that. They are people. They are flawed just like everybody else. They just have a tremendous talent to play their sport, to do music, whatever that talent is, they do it well. And that's why you like them. But at the end of the day, they're a human being as well. They are flawed people, but one shouldn't have anything to do with the other.
Roger Burton, going back to him real quick, he says, nobody getting voted in was so right. Why do you believe that, Roger? And again, I think we all know you look at Bonds and some of these others who came up, you know, high percentages short. Schilling was the closest of all of them, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I need to go pull that up. I think he was at 71. So it was 71. So he was the closest of all the guys who came up short, which I don't think anyone anticipated Bonds and others to get it. But again, it's always interesting seeing the percentages, whether it gets higher and higher each year. And I did find it interesting that at the end of the day, you had Curt Schilling say, you know what? Take me off the ballot for next year. I'll just wait till I want to get it. He'll let the older voters kind of get him in later amongst his peers, as opposed to the media. He doesn't believe that the media should. And I've always said that too. Like, there's certain media that if you've covered a team your entire life or for decades and you've been around the sport, fine. But there's some that don't. There's some that aren't actual beat reporters for teams that have it. And I don't agree with that. I don't know. But Jason Pruitt on Facebook as well says Baseball Hall of Fame voting needs a serious change of format. I don't even know what my suggestion for what that change would be. It's the only change I can think of is just an attitude adjustment. Yeah. Stop letting your personal biases dictate who gets in and gets out. You are not God. Some of these writers have like a God complex of, you know, again, not having reasons. Hal McCoy is going to call it at Ford. The steroids will be the reason certain guys will not get his Hall of Fame vote. I can respect that because, you know, steroids is cheating the game. So like Pete Rose has been out without steroids, but cheating the game and really breaking some of those rules. But Curt Schilling not getting in just because you don't like the guy and he's a jerk, I have a problem with that. Barry Bonds as well. It's not just the steroids that keeps him out. He was considered a jerk. Yes. Reporters and media hated him. He was not friendly with the media. He was very, you know, difficult to work with. And I think had he been nicer, he probably gets more votes. Alex Rodriguez is going to be the guy that I'm interested in the coming years because he has somehow resurfaced as this darling in media.
All-American, ain't he?
Right? Like, and he was hated as a player.
Yes.
People hated him as a player, but he's likable now. I don't know if it's J-Lo. I don't know what it, I mean, it's definitely J-Lo. All right, folks, 457-9464. I'm going to open up the phones. I'm curious for you baseball fans out there, you know, what is the Hall of Fame to you? What should the Hall of Fame reflect? The guys that are in the Hall of Fame, what should it reflect? And how much should a moral clause be, used in getting these guys in? And it becomes difficult because it almost sounds like you're saying, hey, I don't care if you beat your wife. I don't care if you do drugs. I don't care if you do. We're not like, you know what I'm saying? We're not separating that and saying that that's no big deal. But the Hall of Fame to me is supposed to be an achievement that you get to because of what you did on the field.
Right.
And this isn't the gates to heaven. This is the gates to the Hall of Fame. And I don't think that heaven should be easier to get into than the Hall of Fame. And that's what it seems at times. All right, folks, we'll step away for a few moments. 457-9464. What is the Hall of Fame to you, and what should it reflect? And how much of the moral clause should be used in deciding who gets in and who doesn't? We'll be back in a moment. Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be cloudy, a high near 33. Tonight's going to be partly cloudy and cold, a low around 18. And tomorrow will be mainly clear and sunny, a high near 30. I'm Pete Spyback for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. 98% of their customers recommend Cullet. If you wouldn't recommend your current supplier, check them out at culletpropane.com.
For DIY projects, you know the Home Depot is always in your corner. Now with our mobile app, it can also be in the palm of your hand. With digital tools like image search, snap a picture of something. It'll recognize it and serve up product suggestions in seconds. And our product locator will check availability and lead you right to it. The Home Depot mobile app. Download it today to get started. Only from the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
It's time for some straight talk. Look, we all drop our phones. It happens. You fumble it, crack it, splash it. Well, Straight Talk Wireless now offers this new Platinum Unlimited plan that includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus 20 gigs of hotspot, 100 gigs of cloud storage, and more. All on the best network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
You're ready to get back into yoga, so you order the essentials: a non-slip mat, yoga blocks to keep balance, and an exercise ball. And you use your Bank of America Cash Rewards credit card, choosing to earn 3% cash back on online shopping and up to 5.25% as a preferred rewards member, which you put towards your most essential yoga gear: noise-canceling headphones.
Welcome. Take a deep breath. Breathe.
Apply for yours at bankofamerica.com/more rewarding. Copyright 2020 Bank of America Corporation.
Beachcombing, baking cookies, learning French. Aren't these what you'd rather be doing than thinking about your Medicare prescriptions? Well, Walgreens is here to help you get back to it with convenient refill and pickup options, expert pharmacists to answer all your questions, and Medicare copays as low as $0. Zero. Which is also the number of cares in the world you'll have as you stroll the beach, eating cookies and speaking French. Oh la la. Walgreens.
$0 copays apply to Tier 1 generic drugs and select plans where Walgreens is a preferred pharmacy.
She became overweight, stinky, several vertebrae fused together. Sophie was going to be euthanized. DINOVITE.com. I remember Sophie starting the Dynavite. She has loved it. She is no longer stinky. She is full of life. Dynavite is nutrition. Get them on Dynavite right away while they're healthy.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dynavite from DINOVITE.com.
Tie ball game with the shot clock winding down now. Jones takes the ball to point off the high screen and roll. He puts up the shot at the buzzer, and it's
Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. Dayton Flyers basketball fans can't make it to the arena this season, but want to experience a safe electric college game day atmosphere? Timothy's Bar and Grill is the spot to support the Flyers all season long. Follow Timothy's Bar and Grill on Facebook and Twitter for select game day specials. Go Flyers!
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/news. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The big building supply and home improvement auction is back at the Clark County Fairgrounds in Springfield. It's all online now, and bidding starts ending Thursday at noon. Go to pbauctions.com and register to bid on name brand home improvement products. Kitchen cabinets, vanities, wood flooring, vinyl, tile flooring, doors, windows, trim, insulation, lumber, fencing, and tools. A huge selection of unclaimed freight. Preview is Wednesday, and bidding starts to close Thursday at noon. So go to pbauctions.com and check out this huge building material and home improvement auction at the Clark County Fairgrounds in Springfield.
Panera's new flatbread pizzas are here. But to our new chef, Klaus, they're not just pizzas, they're masterpieces. Because it's not just cheese, it's hot and melty mozzarella and fontina cheese. It's not just sauce, it's market tomato red bell pepper sauce. And it's not just toppings, it's fresh mozzarella, basil, and grape tomatoes. Taste our delicious new flatbread pizzas today. Order online for pickup or delivery. Panera. Restrictions apply.
Starting route. Your destination is 0.1 miles away.
If you drive less than
500 feet, turn left. You have arrived at your destination.
If you drive less than 25 miles a day, you could be paying less every day with pay-per-mile car insurance from Allstate. You get the same reliable coverage and hands-on expertise you'd expect from Allstate, but now at a price that's tailored to the miles you drive.
Call your local Allstate agent and start paying what's right for you. Includes a daily rate. Prices vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Not applicable in California. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and its affiliates.
Staples has everything you need to start the year right, like home office furniture, the latest tech, and organizational supplies, and all at amazing prices. Get a fresh start this year with big savings from Staples.
1410 ESPN Radio is Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes on the hardwood. Football may be over, but basketball is just heating up. Support Chris Holtman and his Buckeyes as they battle it out in the toughest conference in all of college basketball, the Big Ten. Every dribble, every shot, every Buckeyes win. Catch it all right here on ESPN 1410 Ring AM. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
All right, and we are back. Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash with you here on a Wednesday. Ohio State, Penn State. You just heard the promo there where they'll be in action coming up later on tonight. 7 o'clock, the tip-off on the Big Ten Network. 6:15, though, if you're going to catch it on the radio side, make sure you catch it right here on Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Not just football, but basketball as well. 6:15 will be the pregame on 1410 AM as the Buckeyes and Penn State look to make up a game that was postponed just over a month ago. By the way, this month is flying by. Like, we are inching closer and closer to February already. We've already started making February promotions plans and everything. I'm like, holy smokes, like, it's already almost the end of the year. Just saying. It's moving quickly. So we'll get into some of that in a moment. Dan Gavitt, president of operations basketball for the NCAA, had an interesting interview with Jeff Goodman on his podcast, and I have a soundbite that we're going to get to later on in the show that he starts talking about what March Madness is going to look like this year. And he answered what it could look like without answering what it's going to look like in its typical political answer form. And it has me worried that there seems to be not a lot of answers right now. And I think we've learned in COVID, sometimes you can't plan. You can have multiple plans in place, but there's no answers for how to combat this virus. We don't even know what it's going to look like here in a month. So we'll get into the college basketball discussion more coming up around the corner. Way too early. Top 25 for college football was released. And where does Ohio State fall in those rankings? We'll take a look. They are not 1. They are not 2. They're not 3. I'm not being funny. They're not 4 either. Like, where do the Buckeyes actually fall in this? And is it fair? We have that coming up around the corner. Plus, Cincinnati Reds baseball talk. Hall of Famer Hal McCoy joins us half hour from now. The Hall of Fame voter. And that's what we've opened up discussing here on today's show. So I opened up with, of course, there was a lot of talk all day long about Curt Schilling. Curt Schilling is a fascinating individual to talk about when it comes to talking about the Hall of Fame, because every year we always kind of get to the point where when we're talking about the Hall of Fame, the phrase moral, the moral clause comes into play here. And I think we have become, especially with the way our world is right now, if you even say something remotely close about an individual who voted for a certain individual or has said anything off in the past, Oh, so you support a racist. Oh, so you support this guy. And it's like, that's not what this conversation is about. The Hall of Fame is strictly about what you do on the field. I am curious if, we talked about O.J. Simpson yesterday as far as football is concerned. If, would O.J. Simpson be considered a Hall of Famer after everything that happened? Remember, he's considered a Hall of Famer before everything that went down, for what he's truly known for post-football, right? So, that's what I'm curious about. But there's always going to be that moral conversation of why guys should be in and why they shouldn't. But for me, it's as simple as, I looked at the simple definition of a Hall of Fame. It's an institution honoring the achievements of individuals in a particular activity or field. I sound like I'm giving like a generic speech in college, right? Webster's Dictionary says that.
Cite your sources.
Yes, exactly. But it's an institution honoring the achievements of individuals in a particular activity or field. And sure, everyone can have their own personal moral clause for how they want to view, individuals. That's fine. But from a Hall of Fame perspective, you want your best hitters, your best home run hitters, your best base runners. You want the best of the best in there.
Yep.
I think Curt Schilling's one of the best of the best. I know he's a fringe guy for most, but when I look at his career accomplishments, it's hard for me to argue that he should not be in. And I do believe he would be in or be a for sure Hall of Famer with some doubters if he wasn't such a horrible person, right? Like he is very difficult to support because of the things he says. And I don't want to go down he's disliked because of who he voted for. That just was the cherry on top. And I'm not trying to get into the political side of it, but the things he says makes him very difficult to support. He's not a very friendly individual. Let's just put it that way. He attacks anyone and everyone on social media that he can get his fingertips on. So let's just, leave it at that. But I don't care about any of that.
Right.
I was listening to First Take earlier today, and Stephen A. Smith just went on and on about how he can't stand Curt Schilling, but he said, forget who Curt Schilling is, the person. Curt Schilling, the baseball player, that's what this is about. And I think that's what the Hall of Fame should be about. I think the moral clause, yes, should play some role in there, but I don't think that this is one of those. I don't think who a person votes for should be what keeps you out of a Hall of Fame. And I think that's what's happening with Curt Schilling, and I think that's wrong.
I agree with you 100%. And, it's the separation, And right now, right now, we're not doing that. And I mean, you also got to think about this. Like, there's guys in his locker room that played with him who probably couldn't stand his guts, probably couldn't stand him. But they knew, like, he's on the mound. We got a great chance of winning today. And that's what mattered to them in that time. And what matters about Curt Schilling is only what he did on the baseball field. And when he was on the baseball field, he willed, he dealed, he was lights out on that mound. And that's what really should count, not the other stuff that, you and I both say, like, we don't like him as a dude. But ultimately, we got to turn that side of us off and say, look, this is what he did on the field. And he accomplished a ton of things on the field.
Yeah, Ann Anderson, she chimes in on Facebook. And again, keep in mind, folks, we're live on Facebook. If you can't call in right now, someone said that our phone lines are busy, so there must be something wrong with our phones. So as soon as we get that addressed, we will let you know. But right now, Facebook is the way to go. So head to Facebook, search The Justin Kinner Show. You can watch the show live and leave your comments and interaction in the chat section, and we get to pull you right into the show. But Ann Anderson says that they have been keeping Pete Rose out for basically morals issues. If there is anyone who deserves to be in for his on-the-field play, it should be him. Maybe the writers need to be removed from the whole process and make it purely player-driven. Some of the writers have not covered the sport for years. Pete Rose will always be one of the most interesting guys to talk about when it comes to the Hall of Fame. Because I don't think now it's strictly morals driven is why he's not in the Hall of Fame. There's a lot of there's a lot of he's hurt himself in a lot of situations as well. There's a lot of situations post 89 where he has been invited to meet with the commissioner of baseball, and things just didn't pan out because of behind the scenes issues with his personality and how he handled those things. So, and Hal covers a lot of that stuff in his book, and Hal covers a lot, he's covered that over the years coming on the show with us. But, but Anna is right. There was a morals thing, the betting on baseball. Yeah. And to me, it's funny because we're younger. We're growing up in a day and age now where where betting is everywhere.
Right.
Like sports bet. He was gambling. Oh, wow. That's why he's not in baseball. So it just sounds so outrageous to us that is why he's not in the game, in the sport right now, or not allowed around anywhere near it. But back then, that was just, you don't do that. You don't even bring it up. And I still have a hard time contemplating that as why he can't be in. But it's one of those things where, to me, it's no big deal. But back then, it was a huge, huge deal. Mm-hmm. And this is an older driven sport where you have a lot of people who covered the sport back then and are still with it today who still hold the same mentality of 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, you can't bring in the fact that like all tradition is a big part of baseball and then try to say like, all right, tradition doesn't matter in this aspect of it, because, you know, we hear all the stories about no betting on baseball. There's a big sign in each locker room and everything like that. We hear all that type of stuff, but it is difficult, especially I can only imagine for someone that's like 15, 16 years old, who's really falling in love with the game of baseball. And then to find out about Pete Rose and how much of a great player he was and everything like that, and look at his numbers and like wait, this guy is in a Hall of Fame because he bet on the game. Like where you got Floyd Mayweather betting on himself every fight, racking up millions of dollars. They got gambling shows on ESPN every single day. Like gambling's everywhere, gambling apps. You know what I'm saying? You talked about how you like to play. We're going to be placing wagers for the Super Bowl and everything like that. It's everywhere now. So it is something that needs to be revisited. But every time, like you said, it gets revisited, something else comes up. Something like, well, hold on, that doesn't add up. That doesn't add up what you said before and everything like that. Well, I never bet on my team. I always never bet against my team and stuff like that. It's just so murky when it comes to that. I'm not the biggest Pete Rose aficionado. I wouldn't know. So I try to like stay clear of that because I really don't have an opinion one way or another, because that was before I really fell in love with the game of baseball. I just know like it seems fishy. That's all.
Yeah. I'm the opposite. I think it's stupid that he's not in. And the reasons that he's not in, like there were some recent allegations that if you wanted to use that as to why Pete Rose shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, I'm willing to entertain those conversations. But the whole betting thing, to me, it's never stricken a nerve with me. It's never hit home to me as, oh my gosh, I cannot believe he did that. I cannot forgive him. I think we have forgiven athletes for way worse that are still playing today. There's players on the team I'm a huge fan of that have been forgiven for much worse, in my opinion, that are still playing the sport that they love and, playing in playoff games and everything else. So, just to me, it never hit home to me to the point where I was like, oh, I cannot believe he did that. But there's so many behind the scenes issues of Pete Rose, and that's why also he's not in. But no, he's always used as the moral side of, oh, you let this individual in with everything he's done wrong. There you go. I mean, we talked about yesterday, too, the same team I was just talking about, the Cleveland Browns. You look at Jim Brown. Jim Brown, there's a lot of things about Jim Brown that are just totally ignored and forgotten. And he is held up on a pedestal of one, the faces of the all-time greats of football. But we are able to always separate things sometimes. We pick and choose when we want to do that. In baseball, it just seems, especially the voters, there's just no way. But again, the betting thing and what we're talking about with Curt Schilling, I think needs to be separated a little bit. But the steroids thing, that's hard for me to, when someone says I can't put them in the Hall of Fame because they cheated, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a ton of sense. But at the same time, when you dive deeper, it wasn't against the rules for the longest time either. During a certain stretch of when steroids were being used, it wasn't technically against the rules, or the certain things they were using wasn't technically against the rules. And then boom, Monday it's allowed, Tuesday it's not allowed. And then this, the issues of using on Monday leading into Tuesday all of a sudden make you a cheater. It's interesting how to kind of decipher the difference of those situations.
It's so weird, man. It's so complex. It's not cut or dry. None of this stuff is cut or dry. You think about a locker room, an NFL locker room is about 60 guys in there. They're all going to have different opinions about a ton of different things. We talk on this show for 3 hours a day. We rarely agree on anything.
Nope.
So to expect a locker room to be getting along kumbaya is not the norm. Larry Fitzgerald and Barry Sanders, those aren't the norm. Barry Sanders scores a 60-yard touchdown, hands the ball to the referee. That's not the norm. Larry Fitzgerald scores a touchdown, celebrates with his teammates. That's not the norm. The norm is, look at me, I'm going to show off, look at me. So the norm is not the norm. What you want people to be is not the norm. So you can't try to put people into these boxes to say like, all right, man, if you act this way, this way, this way, this way, and this way, you're going to be a Hall of Famer. People are complex. People are flawed. So when you look at a Curt Schilling, I personally think he's flawed as a person, but as a baseball player, he was awesome. And judging by the numbers, Pete Rose was awesome too. So like I'm almost to the point where I'm just like, man, let them all in. Let all the steroid dudes in and hit them with the asterisks at the end of their little bio. Like, look, yeah, he was accused of cheating the game, but he's a Hall of Famer. Something, I don't know.
And you talked about the norm. We're going to transition a little bit, and things might be returning to the norm somehow, some way. We're transitioning here into a college football conversation. On the other side of the break, we'll get back into this Hall of Fame conversation with a Hall of Famer and a Hall of Fame voter, and Hal McCoy, coming up here 20 minutes from now. How about this? The SEC just released its football schedule for next season, and talked about returning to norm somewhat, or at least something to look forward to. SEC football schedule releases its latest next year's schedule, and it features the return of non-conference games, 3 Power 5 matchups on September 4th. Again, we just wrapped up a college football season, but right away, the conference, it just means more. They're already spitting out their schedule, including non-conference games next year and everything. So we have that coming up around the corner. Like I said, we have plenty more coming your way. 457-9464. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
There's nothing better than a fresh-made home-style meal, but not everyone loves the hassle of cooking. At Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, home-style happens here with our famous 12-piece family meal at a great price. This famous family meal includes 12 mixed pieces of Lee's fresh, never-frozen chicken that is honey-dipped, hand-breaded, and cooked to perfection, plus 3 large sides and 6 fluffy biscuits. Get a home-style meal made easy today with Lee's 12-piece family meal at a great price. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
Attention Class A CDL drivers. Looking to be more than just a number? Yoel Transportation in Dayton is looking for drivers with at least 1.5 years experience. Yoel has open positions for no-tarp flatbed drivers and no-touch regional or local van drivers. Yoel is ELD compliant and offers 401k with match, medical, dental, vision, holiday pay, vacation, safety bonuses, and now has a rider policy. Call Rick or Joe at 937-294-5933 and ask about the $5,000 sign-on bonus today.
Find your style with Patriot Lighting from Menards. We carry a great selection of interior lighting products. Check out the Leaf Island line. Its stylish design will add a modern touch to any kitchen with its satin nickel frame and graphite accents. Just $149.99. The Brooklyn Island light comes with vintage-style bulbs and has an industrial feel. Right now, it's only $189.99. Save on everything to update your home now at Menards. Price is good through Sunday, January 31st.
Save big money at Menards. Winter is here. Rob's Beer Barn is stocked with the newest seasonal beers and refreshments. That means Rob's Beer Barn has you covered for all your needs, including for the big game on Sunday, February 7th. At Rob's, you can find all the ice-cold refreshments you'll need. Craft, imported, local, and seasonal beers, fine wine, snacks, and ice. Rob's has it all. And for last-minute items, you can call, walk in, or drive through. Stop in and stock up today. Rob's Beer Barn on Indian Ripple Road at Darst, just a mile east of the Green. Rob's Beer Barn, just look for the beaver.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Buonasera.
Buonasera. How can I make the most of waiting for my next big vacation?
Translate your questions into goals by investing with Merrill Edge Self-Directed. It's more accessible than you think, with helpful planning tools plus free online stock and ETF trades, so you can keep practicing your pronunciation. Merrill, a Bank of America company. Visit merrilledge.com/withinreach to get started today.
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated. Registered broker-dealer, members IPC. Other fees may apply. Investment products are not FDIC insured or not bank guaranteed and may lose value.
What's in store this week at Staples?
Small prices, big savings.
Help your business go big with everything you need at amazing prices.
Like furniture, organization supplies, and the latest tech products.
And now, save up to $20 on select TurboTax software at Staples.
Get your maximum refund guaranteed, whether you file on your own or get help from an expert with new TurboTax Live.
Shop in store or pick up curbside.
Save up to $20 on TurboTax software now at Staples.
While supplies last. Ends 1/30/21. Curbside available at most stores.
Pros bring something extra to every job. Now at the Home Depot, they also get something extra. Pro Extra, our free loyalty program built for pros just like you. Members earn perks with every dollar spent, like Pro Extra Dollars, a tool rental credit, and more. New members get $20 off their next in-store purchase of $200 or more just for signing up. Learn more at homedepot.com/Pro Extra. New year, more rewards, Pro Extra, only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
Sure thing. We can help you replace those wipers. If yours are squeaking or streaking, it's probably time. We've got a wide selection of wipers that can stand up to any weather, including the right ones for your make and model. We've even got more ways to get them fast, like our next day delivery or free same-day store pickup. Getting the job done just got easier. Restrictions apply.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. It's time for some straight talk. Look, we all drop our phones. It happens. You fumble it, crack it, splash it. Well, Straight Talk Wireless now offers this new Platinum Unlimited plan that includes phone protection. Just $65 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data, plus 20 gigs of hotspot, 100 gigs of cloud storage, and more. All on the best network. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/Straight Talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
Did you know that upgrading your speakers can make the biggest difference in the sound of your stereo or home theater system? That's right. Change your speakers and improve your listening experience. Hi, this is Kirby with Audio Etc. And right now, all of our speakers are on sale. Audio Etc. features some of the best brands in the world, including Bowers & Wilkins, SVS, Rebel, KLH, Martin Logan, and Bose. Audio Etc. is also proud to have been selected as one of 60 Klipsch dealers in the nation to carry the Klipsch legendary heritage lineup. So whether you're looking for the best or just looking for better than what you have, Audio Etc. has you covered. Visit our crazy cool showroom today and see why Audio Etc. has been the place to go for 35 years. Check out our complete selection of stereo and home theater equipment, projectors, and TVs as well. Quality product, knowledgeable staff, and unsurpassed service. Audio Etc. 551 Congress Park Drive at the corner of Paragon and Centerville, or call 434-9770.
Audio Etc.'s crazy cool showroom.
New year, new job, new pay rates. Ritz Hall North America LLC in Urbana has immediate openings seeking experienced assembly operators, welders, machine operators, paint unloaders, and paint loaders. Ritz Hall offers a minimum starting wage of $15.30 per hour with a $1 shift differential for second and third shifts, monthly attendance bonus, and benefits starting on the first of the month after hire. If interested, please email Katie McKee your resume at mckee.k@ritzhall.us. Ritz Hall is proud to be an affirmative action and equal opportunity employer.
Staples has everything you need to start the year right, like home office furniture, the latest tech, and organizational supplies, and all at amazing prices. Get a fresh start this year with big savings from Staples.
All right, sports fans, we may not agree on a lot, but what we can agree on is that we would all love a $10,000 payday. Well, great news. Now is your shot. All you have to do is listen every hour, weekdays starting at 7 a.m. for the winning word and enter it at wingam.com. It's the 1410 ESPN Radio 10K Payday. Visit wingam.com for more info. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Fire Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio.
What are you going with the little Buckeye thing for?
Way too early, top 25.
Oh, but then, see, you way too early on that. We weren't going there.
Oh, we weren't? Oh, okay. Wait, hold on.
It was the SEC schedule release, man. I'm just throwing that out there. But happy now. There we go. We welcome you back.
Bama lover.
Justin Kidder, Kevin Ashley here on 1410 Wing AM. I've got 4 people that have messaged saying that the phones that they're not getting through. So as soon as we get that addressed and figured out, we will let you know. But right now, all communication is being done through, of course, Facebook. So head to Facebook, search The Justin Kidder Show, jump in on the conversation there. As we talked about, the SEC just released, its non-conference schedule for next year. We talked about returning to normalcy a little bit. Well, non-conference has a lot of normalcy sound to it, right? Next season, again, some of these games aren't that. I mean, I don't know why they highlighted some of these, Kev. I mean, Vanderbilt and Stanford. Who cares about Vanderbilt and Stanford?
Nerd Bowl.
And by the way, did you see Tennessee? They made their hire today.
Yeah, Josh Heupel, former quarterback from Oklahoma, won their national championship back in 2000.
Well, I tell you what. Normally, I wouldn't say, we talk about going from the American Conference and up to a Power 5. That's an upgrade. I think an upgrade would be for a certain coach. Nebraska is a disaster right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting worse each year. If I'm Frost, I take a look at that UCF job again and go backwards. I go back. It won't happen, but I go back because right now you are nosediving to a quick – he's going to be let go in the next year or two if he doesn't turn this around.
It's always difficult. It's always difficult going home. Like, everybody wants that I'm coming home LeBron James moment where he comes back to the Cavs and wins a championship. I don't think of too many guys who go back to their alma mater and succeed. Clyde Drexler went back to coach at Houston. That was a debacle. Right now, everything that's going on at Georgetown with Patrick Ewing is a debacle. Like, I don't know too many guys that go back to their alma mater and coach and is like, oh, man, this is great. This is exactly what we wanted. Like, shoot, Harbaugh with Michigan. Like, it's not turning out how they expected it to. Like, so I don't know, man. Like, that's why I always, when people talk about like, oh, man, they got to have a connection to the area. Like, yeah, you're right. They got to have a connection to the area. But when they're connected too much and it goes wrong, like, and then you got to fire a legend. Like, I mean, we may not view Scott Frost as a legend in college football, but he's a legend in Nebraska. He's got, I believe he won a Heisman Trophy at Nebraska.
Well, look in this city from a college basketball perspective. Anthony Grant comes with it. That's what made last year's run for UD, even though it came short in March. Obviously, no March Madness. But that's what made last year so even more special is because of the fact that it's not just any coach that had the success with the team last year. It was a former Flyer who played for Donaher, who, you know what I mean? Like, there was all of that. It was just soaked in history. Like, everything that could go right went right, unfortunately, to the very end. Like, unfortunately, the very end, the tournament's pulled out from underneath them. But like, when you win with your guy, with one of your, former guy, it makes it that much more special. If Michigan ever wins with Harbaugh, it's going to be special, yes, because you're winning, but it's even more special when you win with your guy,
right?
One of your former guys. Like, that's what Nebraska. It was supposed to be that way. Like, it was supposed to be that way for them and for Scott Frost, and it has been anything but. How many? I mean, look at the transfer portal, which I know everyone's entering the transfer portal. I thought I saw your name in there a little bit ago.
Yeah.
To be honest, but like Nebraska players left and right, top player, like guys who were supposed to be up next to get playing time, and they're bolting. They're not. The situation is not good at Nebraska. So, like I said, it's unlikely. It's a hot take. I get it, but Scott Frost, why don't you go back to where you were actually having success? And I tell you, if you're a Cincinnati Bearcat fan, that's not a good, UCF now, they're going to be a 3 or 4 loss team now moving forward. That's not good. I mean, that conference needs to be as bolstered as possible. You need as many top 25 games within your conference as possible. Tulsa's not supposed to be as strong next year.
Right.
Tulane's not supposed to be as good. UCF was supposed to, be better.
I'm hearing rumors. Well, I saw rumors, not hearing. Tony Elliott, they're trying to dial up Tony Elliott from Clemson.
To go to UCF?
Yeah.
See, I don't know. See, but Tony Elliott's name was rumored for Tennessee.
Yeah, so, I think UCF is a better job than Tennessee because Tennessee is about to be under some major sanctions. Would you rather go to UCF, who's consistently winning games, or go to Arkansas?
I'd rather go to Arkansas, where you at least have a shot to make the playoff and not win any games. You're right, like UCF and Cincinnati. And I know it's fun. Like, we're laughing, but it's sad, actually, really. So I'm arguing why Scott Frost should go there while telling you he's not going to go there, because you have just as much chance of making the playoff at Arkansas as you do, or a bad Nebraska team at this point, than you do a good UCF team. It's sad, but we've seen really good Cincinnati teams, really good UCF teams, undefeated teams. Just enjoy your New Year's Six bowl game. Pat him on the head. Good job. Here's your participation trophy, and off you go. But no, I was kind of serious. Look, it's not going well at Nebraska. Frost, go back to UCF. It'd be a good feel-good story. It's not going to happen. But no, I know what you're saying. But Elliott, you're at Clemson. You're offensive coordinator there. You're winning that. Well, you're getting to national championship games. You're getting to the playoff every year. You got the best players in the world there. To go from that to UCF, I think it's a good move.
Some
of those coordinators feel like a lateral move over to a Power 5 school is where I think some of those guys say, I don't know if he would view that as a good job or not. I mean, it's an okay job.
Yeah, I mean, just some of the jobs that are out there and his name was tied to, it's like, hey, man, like, you're going to, I know the big bad SEC, but you're going to the SEC West where you're playing LSU, you're playing Alabama and everything like that. You're playing Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin, who puts up points left and right. He could care less about defense, apparently, but they still put up points. I just think some of these schools that, people just like, oh, man, the SEC, it means more. A lot of them schools are bums. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of them schools just ain't good. And, it's going to take decades before they start winning some big games. Like, Ole Miss. I don't think Ole Miss has ever won big in my life. Arkansas, they had a run with who was their coach when they coached against Ohio State in the Sugar Bowl? Bobby Petrino.
Oh yeah, who went to we all know how afterwards. How
he went to the Falcons. Like, so many teams out there that just his name is tied to. Maybe he's trying to hold out for, like you said, Dabo going to family and taking over at Clemson. Maybe that's the play. I don't know, but a lot of them schools out there in the SEC, I'm cool.
Yeah, well, Shaw chimes in. He says, no, I'm not on that train. Everyone thought UCF was going to go to crap when Frost left. So now everyone thinks UCF is going to go into the tank again. Not so fast. Look, I mean, UCF was undefeated the last year that Scott Frost was there, a 12-1 year. For him, of course, the next season, you have a lot of Frost guys. And then, of course, you went 12-1 after 13-0, 12-1. Then you went 10-3, and then you went 6-4. So, yes, I mean, it's not going in the tank, but it's not going in the right direction either.
Right.
Like, it's not like Scott Frost left. And, it's not like, when Stoops leaves Oklahoma and then here comes Lincoln Riley and just, actually they went way forward.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Day takes over for Urban Meyer, back-to-back college football playoff appearances and the national title appearance since then. So, no, I mean, we've seen programs continue to go. Like, you don't automatically get a, pass just because you've transitioned, to a new coach. A lot of these programs are expected to keep going. Yeah, so nonetheless. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Real quick, some of the top games of the SEC non-conference-wise next year. Some of these sound better than what they sounded good when you signed him, I bet. When you had Kelly going to UCLA, you probably thought, oh, man, he's about to turn that around. It's going to be just like it was when he was at Oregon. Here we go. LSU at UCLA. LSU did not look good last year. They didn't look great last year. I'm not sure how great they're going to be. They've lost some coordinators and everything. So LSU at UCLA next year, though, from a brand perspective, that sounds like a hell of a game.
Yeah.
I like that, SEC Pac-12 matchup. How about Georgia versus Clemson? This one I have circled. That's the one I'm really excited about. And then Miami versus Alabama. It's nice seeing Alabama play a school like Miami, but I have a feeling Alabama's going to roll over Miami the way we see Alabama roll over most non-conference opponents. So
yeah, Bama plays teams out of conference. It's just not
Jerry's
home.
World.
Yeah,
It's neutral
site games.
All right, then you have Louisville and Ole Miss. Again, not a big one, but again, those just non-conference, some of the bigger matchups that you'll see out of the SEC. We'll keep an eye on the Big Ten, but again, while the SEC is releasing their non-conference, the ACC is about to release theirs. You said what, tomorrow?
Yeah.
The rumor has the Big Ten is still deciding on if there will be a season next year, so we don't know what's going on exactly as far as that goes. All right, folks, the Hall of Famer Hal McCoy. We're going to switch gears here and go back to the Hall of Fame discussion. Hall of Famer Hal McCoy. We're going to talk a little bit about the Reds offseason. We saw pretty much every available shortstop except for one be signed yesterday. Well, the Reds need a shortstop. They've been on the rumor mills. I've had them taking DiDi Gregorious or Simeon or one of these top shortstops free agent. Well, there's only one remaining, and it's DiDi. Do the Reds give him the money he's asking for, or do they basically say we're going to take our chance with Garcia and go from there? DiDi Gregorious asking for 2 years, $15 million a year. That's a lot of money to invest into a guy that the last couple of years, from a statistics standpoint, haven't been the greatest. But again, you add him into a lineup with what's already there in Moustakas, Castellanos, Eugenio Suarez, and others. It could be interesting. Not the worst defensive shortstop either. It could be an interesting decision that the Reds have to make. Or should they take that money and go after a pitcher? We're going to talk about that with the Hall of Famer Hal McCoy. We'll talk a little Kurt Schilling in the Hall of Fame as well. And I'm excited to be joined by the Hall of Famer Hal McCoy. That's next.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Pros bring something extra to every job. Now at the Home Depot, they also get something extra. Pro Extra, our free loyalty program built for pros just like you. Members earn perks with every dollar spent, like Pro Extra Dollars, a tool rental credit, and more. New members get $20 off their next in-store purchase of $200 or more just for signing up. Learn more at homedepot.com/Pro Extra. New year, more rewards, Pro Extra, only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Tie ball game with the shot clock winding down now. Jones takes the ball to point off the high screen and roll. He puts up the shot at the buzzer, and it's
Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. Dayton Flyers basketball fans can't make it to the arena this season, but want to experience a safe electric college game day atmosphere? Timothy's Bar and Grill is the spot to support the Flyers all season long. Follow Timothy's Bar and Grill on Facebook and Twitter for select game day specials. Go Flyers!
Listen to this radio station on the radio.com app. Connect with your favorite radio shows through contests, social media, and podcasts. Create custom alarms with your favorite radio stations, all free with the radio.com app.
Need legal help? Come see us. The Montgomery County Clerk of Courts has partnered with organizations across the community to launch its new help center. Allow one of our dedicated staff the chance to inform you with legal information, self-help tools, forms, and guides, and referrals to social or legal professionals. We're here to help. Visit courthouse2u.com to learn more. Come down and see us. Brought to you by Clerk of Courts, Mike Foley.
Are you ready for tax season? Belmont Business Consultants and Tax Services is ready for you. If you want to come in person, it's a safe environment, or you can just drop off. Belmont Tax also provides a completely virtual, secure client portal. For business or personal, if you want the accurate deductions you deserve, contact Belmont Tax in Dayton and Eaton. Go to BelmontBCTXS.com. BelmontBCTXS.com.
Looking for an easier way to find your next call center or accounting job? It's time to get to know Express Employment Professionals. Find a location near you at expresspros.com.
You want more local content from Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM? Make sure you subscribe to the WING 1410 Dayton YouTube channel, where you can watch all your local shows live, or go back and rewatch previous episodes of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, the Keith Fire Show, Talking Out Loud with Sully, and more. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER, and ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle. We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Into the end zone goes Chris Olave. A.J. Hill, 6-yard touchdown catch. Right sideline and down he goes to the end zone.
WING 1410 Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's the Justin Kinner Show, live here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner, or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
All right, everybody, we welcome you back. Justin Kinner with you here. Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Jason Campo on Twitter, shout out to him. He just tweeted this into the show. He said, hey, it's a different subject, but take a look at what the Texans might be looking at as far as the head coach is concerned, Kev. The Texans are eyeing David Culley. Yeah, I know. That's what I said too, huh? Ravens assistant coach David Culley is really impressed through the interview process and is gaining support to be the Texans' next head coach. I bring that up just because a lot of eyes are right now on that job, saying, hey, as of right now, that job makes the most sense for Eric Bieniemy as long as Deshaun Watson is there. We don't know where Deshaun Watson is going to be. He could very well be with the Texans again next year, but if I'm assuming David Culley is the head coach, that could be a sign right there that, hey, we're not going to go spend good money to get Bieniemy to come be our head coach if we're about to trade away our quarterback in Deshaun Watson. This might be a sign that the Texans are about to move on from Deshaun Watson, because I would have to think that if Deshaun Watson, you're going to just kind of tough it out and keep him, you're going to go get the head coach that he wanted in Bieniemy. We'll see. This isn't final, but this is just the latest report from Bleacher Report that just came out about a half hour ago. So we'll keep an eye on that to get back and dive into that situation coming up here in a little bit. All right, so the Cincinnati Reds tweeted out earlier today that, well, as of right now, an exact month, I believe, the Reds will take the field at Goodyear for their very first spring training game 1 month from today. And I basically tweeted out, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I want to believe them. I want to believe that there's going to be spring training baseball a month from today. And I hope that's the case, but there's a lot that has to happen between now and then. I'm excited to bring on our next guest. We're going to talk about the Hall of Fame. We're going to talk about the Reds. We're going to talk about the offseason, when the season will start. All of that. We're bringing on Hall of Fame Reds writer Hal McCoy. Hal, welcome in, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, Justin. How are you doing?
Good. It's been a while. I appreciate you taking time and always look forward to talking to you. So, again, the Reds on Twitter, first spring training game a month from today. If you had to guess on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you the season starts on time, at least spring training wise?
About a 3.
Oof, lower than I wanted.
I hope I am wrong, but they're being very optimistic, and there are folks in Arizona who are saying don't even come. So I have very little faith in that it'll get started on time.
Is that just strictly because of the concerns of COVID-19 in Arizona, or is it more of the concerns that are out there of, again, the war between the players union and the league? That didn't die when they came to an agreement to play last season. That was just the beginning in the eyes of most. Is that more of what people are concerned about, or is it strictly the COVID concerns in Arizona right now?
Yeah, it might be a little bit of a combination, but I would say mostly 90% it's concerns of the COVID virus.
Hall of Famer Hal McCoy with us here, and we'll get back into the Reds coming up in just a moment. But a lot of talk right now, Hal, about the Hall of Fame. Again, no new members were selected just the other day. And of course, a lot of eyes and ears and conversations are really right now about Curt Schilling and some of the others. I'm curious your thoughts on when it comes to the moral clause, when it comes to selecting who gets in the Hall of Fame or not. What are your thoughts on the moral clause, and how much of a role should that play in guys getting in for their off the field antics versus on the field antics?
I am definitely with the morals clause.
Okay.
It says right on the ballot that that should be taken into consideration, and I do take it into consideration. I'm probably old school, but that's the way I feel about it. That a Hall of Fame, you should take in morality clauses.
When Curt Schilling's name, how it comes across your table when you look at him again, and I know that, take out, the off the field stuff that people always look at him for as of right now. Take that off the table. You're just looking at the resume, his on the field resume. What is that telling you? Is that a Hall of Fame resume in your opinion? And did you vote for him?
I think it's pretty close. I think the main part of Schilling is what he did in the postseason. His other stats are, pretty doggone good and close to being Hall of Fame material. But no, I did not vote for him because of the stuff that had surrounded him.
So at this point now, when he comes out, Hal, and he says to take him off the ballot, he doesn't want to be on the ballot next year. What was your reaction when you came across that?
Did not surprise me knowing him. I mean, he's total anti-journalist. I mean, he had no use for baseball writers, and he made that request, but I don't think that he can do that. I think that the Hall of Fame decides that, and he will probably be on the ballot again next year. I don't know what his concerns are. I mean, he came very, very close. He came within 16 votes of making it. And to tell you the truth, talking to Hall of Fame members who are on the Veterans Committee, he said, let the Veterans Committee determine whether I should make the Hall of Fame. I think they are more against him than the writers. So I think he's whistling in the dark when he says something like that.
Now, he wants taken off for next year, Hal, but you know how you stick it to him. You vote for him next year. That's how you really show him, right?
I don't think so. He's already off my ballot, so what's the difference?
Absolutely. No. So again, and you got the typical names now: Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens. Those names are going. I mean, we're coming close to getting to the point where the cutoff time for them is not too far off in the distance. But again, when those names come across your table as well, nothing changes for you, correct? Is it strictly the steroid usage that keeps them off yours?
Absolutely. Barry Bonds is probably one of the all-time great players. Belongs in the Hall of Fame, but you got to put him in the same category as Pete Rose. What he did off the field, I mean, he admitted under oath that he took PEDs, although he said he didn't know what it was at the time that his personal trainer gave them to him, and he didn't know what they were. Well, you believe that or not. I just have to consider that he was a PED user, and Roger Clemens was in the Mitchell report. He continues to deny it, but he is in the Mitchell report as being a user. So I haven't voted for him for 9 years, and I'm not going to vote for him on the 10th year. That's the last time both of them will be on the ballot. They will not get my vote. I just don't understand the voting anyway. I've always said that a player should be on the ballot one time. He's either a Hall of Famer or he isn't. If he doesn't make it on the first ballot, his stats don't get any better as the years go by. His stats stay the same. So if he makes it on the fifth ballot, that just doesn't make too much sense to me.
And you're right, though, because a lot of voters, they'll as you know, it's okay. Well, do I want to vote for him? Yes, but I'll vote for him another year. I'm going to focus on these guys this year. I mean, that would eliminate that, and it would force you to decide, hey, Hall of Famer or not, off you go, and it would increase that urgency of making a decision on a certain guy. But that would hurt a lot. I mean, Barry Bonds, that would definitely hurt them. Is there any chance at all you see that changing for guys like that?
I don't think so. I mean, Bonds got 61% of the vote, I believe. I can't see him getting 14 more percent next year. I could be wrong. Maybe some guys will say, okay, I've kept him off my ballot for 9 years. That's punishment enough. Now I'll vote for him. But I was just so happy that he didn't make it this year because, he broke Hank Aaron's record, and Hank Aaron died this week. I just thought it would be reprehensible that he would go into the Hall of Fame the same week that Henry Aaron died.
Hal, you spoke about the morality clause on the Hall of Fame ballots. Do the other Hall of Fames, like the NBA or the Basketball Hall of Fame and NFL, do they have the same clauses on their voting process?
You know what? I do not know that. I have not. I've never been afforded one of their ballots, so I haven't seen it, so I don't know that. I have not heard that. I've only heard it from baseball.
How about when you hear people say, well, Hall of Fame, it's about what they do on the field and not that? To your point, Hal, you did say that, hey, right there on the ballot, it says the moral clause, that plays a role. But when you hear people say, well, it's about what they do on the field, not off the field, how do you rebuttal that? Is it just a simple, hey, it's on the ballot, that's how we vote? How do you rebuttal that?
Yeah, that's exactly what I say. It is on the ballot. It is to be considered, and it's to be considered highly. If it were not on the ballot, if that was not the case, then things would change mightily. So I know the writers take a lot of criticism for taking the moral high stand, but that's all part of the process. It's on the ballot, so you have to consider it. That's the way I feel.
Hall of Famer Hal McCoy with us. Hal, how long have you been a Hall of Fame voter? What was the first year? What was the first player that got the Hal McCoy vote?
Oh boy, you're really putting me on the spot now. I've covered baseball now for 48 years, and so I think the first time you have to be a member of the Baseball Writers 10 years, and I think I became a member in 1968. So 1978 would have been my first ballot, but I'll be darned if I can recall who I voted for.
Totally.
I can't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday, let alone that.
You and me both. All right, Hall of Famer Hal McCoy with us here. Hey, before we go, I do want to transition a little bit to the Cincinnati Reds this coming up season. For a team that unloaded so much talent from a year ago that got them to the playoffs during an expanded playoff COVID-stricken 60-game year, somehow, some way, with all the players they've given up on, Hal, they are still the favorites to win the NL Central somehow. It's the process of elimination from some of the other teams' top talents as well. Without the Reds making another move from here on out, you view this roster and you think what?
Well, you're right in the fact that I was shocked when I saw that Las Vegas made the Reds the favorite to win the division. But you look, the Cubs are dumping, and Pittsburgh is dumping. Milwaukee is not dumping, and the Cardinals are kind of reloading or losing players to free agency. But if the Reds, they're dumping salary and they're adding a bunch of players that nobody ever heard of. So, I can't say that I think they're going to win the division. If, they went all in last year. They spent $175 million to bring in a bunch of free agents, and none of them performed up to the back of their baseball cards. If they would do that, then I would say, the Reds have a great chance. But all those guys have to play to what they have done in the past, and I don't know if they can do that. I mean, you look what they hit last year, 212. Unbelievable. How bad is that? And they can only do anything. They can do nothing more than improve, that's for sure. So, but the pitching rotation they have, even though they have lost Trevor Bauer and Anthony DeSclafani, they're still pretty strong. The rumors were all winter that they were going to trade Sonny Gray and they were going to trade Luis Castillo. Well, they haven't done that, and I don't think they're going to do it now. So the rotation is still pretty strong. So I think they definitely have a chance to win the division, but I wouldn't make them the favorites. The Cardinals always seem to find players out in the cornfield somewhere, and they always reload and do well.
Yeah, I feel like with the Reds this offseason has been interesting because you talked about those rumors and the reports out there that the Reds were looking to shop, Sonny Gray and Castillo, and that they're, looking to go in full salary dump mode. You would hear that one week, and then the next week is, they send a scout out, they send a coach out to take a look at Corey Kluber, or they're taking a look at DiDi, or they're taking a look to try to maybe make a trade at the time with Cleveland, who still had Francisco Lindor. And then the next week it's, they're looking to trade Eugenio Suarez. Now, there was just so much back and forth with that just the Reds doing their due diligence of keeping an eye on all available players and opportunities, as well as seeing what they can get in return for their players for future usage, in your opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. That's probably mostly that other teams here that the Reds are dumping salary. So they give the Reds a call and say, what do you take for Eugenio Suarez, and what do you take for Luis Castillo? And I'm sure the Reds made it a high ceiling, wanting all the other teams' best prospects, and so it probably just died after the phone calls.
Last year was weird seeing the Reds kind of open up the wallet a bit and go after guys like Moustakas and Castellanos and others. And it's weird because I'm like, you made those decisions. You've traded for Bauer in the past. You did the sign and trade with Sonny Gray. You came that far just to get to this point. I mean, are you surprised that they have not made additional moves to try to take that next step forward? Or was that just one last gasp of air just trying to win with what they had last year, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think last year they went all in hoping that they could win, and they did make the playoffs only because the playoffs were expanded. And I am a bit surprised when they see what the rest of the teams are doing in the division, if they would just add a couple of pieces, if they would add a DiDi Gregorious to play shortstop and shore up the bullpen a little more, they would be able to compete. But like most teams, they lost so much money last year that Bob Castellini just decided, let's go the other way. So here we go again, starting another rebuild.
Last thing here on the Red. Oh, really? That's not what I want to hear. Not in the slightest. DiDi Gregorious reports are 2 years, $15 million is what he's looking for. Last Reds question, and we'll let you go. Do they have it in them? Will they pull the trigger on that? Are they thinking about it? Do you think? I mean, what are the odds that the Reds end up with DiDi Gregorious 2 years, $30 million? My big thing is, you know what? We see teams sign guys for big contracts all the time. This would be kind of a similar contract to what Moustakas and Castellanos got. You sign them, you use them for 1 year, and then you dump them after a year like they're going to do with everybody else anyways. Why wouldn't they do it?
Yeah, I know. It's kind of a mysterious situation. I have a feeling that other than the Reds, the Phillies are trying to re-sign him. And he had a great year for the Phillies last year. And I have a feeling that he's going to re-sign with the Phillies, and the Reds are going to be left out in the cold again and probably end up with young Jose Garcia playing shortstop.
All right, Hal, last thing, and we'll let you go. You mentioned the passing of Hank Aaron a little bit ago. Just send us out with some of your favorite Hank Aaron memories before we go.
Well, not a better person in the world, just an unbelievable guy. The first time I ever met him was 1973, and Earl Lawson from the Cincinnati Post was my mentor, and he took me into the Braves clubhouse with him, and he had established a pretty good rapport with Hank Aaron, and he introduced me to Hank, and I just stood there and listened to him for a while. And the next time I saw him, the next series, it had to be a month or so away, I went up to him. He said, "Hello, Hal, how are you doing?" And that was so impressive to know that Hank Aaron, the legendary Hank Aaron, would remember my name and had a good rapport with him the rest of his career. Just a totally, absolutely class act. When you talk about class act people, he's the head of the class.
You're around stars your entire career. Is that one of the only times you were starstruck? Were you starstruck? I guess it sounded very similar to that, but I'm curious, was that the only time you felt like that about a player coming up to you and knowing who you were?
Yeah, absolutely. Steve Garvey did the same thing, but he was very good at that. And seemed to remember everybody's name, and he did the same thing with it. Only two quote superstars that ever did that, but to have Hank Aaron, who I consider probably in the top 3 all-time great players in baseball, to remember my name when I was just a young kid, that's pretty awesome.
All right. Schlemmer just messaged me, by the way. He said to leave you alone. You got to get back to your opponents. You got to get back to your betting. So that's how we'll end this conversation. So there you go. And you didn't take the horse named after me or Byers today. I'm a little disappointed.
Well, not only that, I make sure I never pick a horse that Schlemmer picks. That's a sure loser.
All right. Hall of Famer Hal McCoy, good enough to hang out with us here this afternoon. Hal, thank you so much for your time. We'll catch up soon.
Anytime, guys. You take care of yourselves.
Later. All right, good stuff there. Again, that was the Hall of Famer Hal McCoy. If you just tuned in the middle of that and want to go back and check it out, you can head to wingam.com here in about 10 minutes. It'll be posted there. You can also subscribe and download the Justin Kinner Show podcast in your Apple, iTunes, and Google Play Store. When you subscribe and download to the podcast, well, that's where you will be able to get the show in its entirety, as well as select segments in all interviews, including the conversation we just had with the Hall of Famer Hal McCoy. Just to be clear, a month from today, the Reds will have their very first spring training game against Cleveland. Let's get it on. The Cleveland no names, all right? They're like the Washington no names in the NFL, right? A month from today, we opened the conversation with Hal McCoy on a scale of 1 to 10. How confident is he that the Reds will be playing in spring training action a month from today? He didn't have a good answer. We're going to discuss what that answer was on the other side. Baseball fans, I would like to think that, good times are around the corner, but I don't know how far down the road that corner is. We'll be back in a moment. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash when we come back.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be cloudy, a high near 33. Tonight's going to be partly cloudy and cold, a low around 18. And tomorrow will be mainly clear and sunny, a high near 30. I'm Pete Spybeck for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Have you wanted to speak a new language, but thought it would be too difficult? Then try Babbel. Babbel starts by teaching you words and phrases that gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations. So in 15 minutes a day, you'll be speaking a new language in a few weeks. Babbel is built around real life. It teaches you practical conversations that you will actually use. Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to babbel.com today. That's BABBEL.com.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Buonasera.
Buonasera. How can I make the most of waiting for my next big vacation?
Translate your questions into goals by investing with Merrill Edge Self-Directed. It's more accessible than you think, with helpful planning tools plus free online stock and ETF trades, so you can keep practicing your pronunciation. Merrill, a Bank of America company. Visit merrilledge.com/withinreach to get started today.
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated. Registered broker-dealer, members IPC. Other fees may apply. Investment products are not FDIC insured or not bank guaranteed and may lose value.
What's in store this week at Staples?
Small prices, big savings.
Help your business go big with everything you need at amazing prices.
Like furniture, organization supplies, and the latest tech products.
And now, save up to $20 on select TurboTax software at Staples.
Get your maximum refund guaranteed, whether you file on your own or get help from an expert with new TurboTax Live.
Shop in store or pick up curbside.
Save up to $20 on TurboTax software now at Staples.
While supplies last. And 1/30/21. Curbside available at most stores.
It's such a beautiful night. Look at the stars.
They're amazing. Did you know 20% of stars have planets orbiting them capable of sustaining life?
How did you know that? You must spend a ton of time reading.
Not at all. I use Blinkist.
Blinkist?
Yeah, it's an app that takes key insights from over 4,000 nonfiction bestsellers and gathers them into 15-minute blinks for you to read or listen to. With Blinkist, you can learn the main points of an entire book in just 15 minutes, as opposed to days or weeks.
What kind of books?
Nonfiction books in over 27 categories, from personal development to history, management, investing, philosophy, and more. Books like A Beautiful Mind, The 4-Hour Workweek, Freakonomics, and Sapiens. Blinkist makes it easy to learn about pretty much anything.
Like the stars?
Even the stars.
Right now, radio listeners get 25% off, plus 1 free week when you go to Blinkist.com/brain. To get this special offer, go to Blinkist.com/brain.
That's BLINKIST.com/BRAIN.
Time ball game with the shot clock winding down now. Jones takes the ball to point off the high screen and roll. He puts up the shot at the buzzer, and it's
Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. Dayton Flyers basketball fans can't make it to the arena this season, but want to experience a safe electric college game day atmosphere? Timothy's Bar and Grill is the spot to support the Flyers all season long. Follow Timothy's Bar and Grill on Facebook and Twitter for select game day specials. Go Flyers!
When you bundle your home, auto, and life insurance with Allstate, you could save.
What if I bundle my auto, home, and life insurance?
That works.
How about my home, life, and auto insurance?
However you want to bundle it, Allstate can help you save with it.
See just how much you can save when you bundle. In the Springfield and surrounding area, call me, Dave Mowdy, at 325-2474, right across the street from Frisch's on East Main Street.
Not available in every state. Prices vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Not applicable in California. Plus the company identifiers. AFIC, ADPIC, Allstate Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois. Allstate Life Insurance Company of New York, Hauppauge, New York.
The big building supply and home improvement auction is back at the Clark County Fairgrounds in Springfield. It's all online now, and bidding starts ending Thursday at noon. Go to pbauctions.com and register to bid on name brand home improvement products. Kitchen cabinets, vanities, wood flooring, vinyl, tile flooring, doors, windows, trim, insulation, lumber, fencing, and tools. A huge selection of unclaimed freight. Previews Wednesday and bidding starts to close Thursday at noon. So go to pbauctions.com and check out this huge building material and home improvement auction at the Clark County Fairgrounds in Springfield.
I'm Terry Krupp of Laird's Tax and Accounting. We are excited to announce we are open and here to help with your tax preparation needs. We offer multiple options, both convenient and safe. You can drop off your tax return, upload it to our secure website, or call for an appointment. We have 5 locations in the Miami Valley and 1 in Columbus to serve you. No matter the situation, we're confident we can do the job right. Visit lairdstax.com or call 937-325-6571. Laird's Tax and Accounting, here for you to ensure continued confidence in your tax return.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations, serving the greater Dayton and Cincinnati area, is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the best value in bath and shower remodeling, and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that is safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase. Visit on Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com. And upgrade today.
Whether you're a pro on the job site or managing properties, clean and safe is your #1 priority, and Lowe's has the pro-grade cleaning supplies you need. We go beyond the basics, bringing you commercial cleaning from top brands like Clorox, Zep, and Rubbermaid, and in larger sizes, so you can take on any cleaning job, knowing you have the quantity you need. Shop Lowe'sForPros.com and have your items delivered, or pick up in store. Lowe's, the new home for pros. U.S. only.
What's in store this week at Staples?
Printing you new signs for the times.
Get back to business with custom printed signs and sales materials. Staples has hundreds of designs to choose from, or just upload your own.
And now at Staples, get 25% off custom flyers, brochures, postcards, or labels when you spend $70 or more.
Some items printed same day when ordered before 2 p.m.
Save big on custom printing at Staples. Ends 2/27. Exclusions apply. Limit 1 offer per customer. See store associate or visit staples.com/custom prints for details.
Staples has everything you need to start the year right, like home office furniture, the latest tech, and organizational supplies, and all at amazing prices. Get a fresh start this year with big savings from Staples.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
All right, everybody, we are back. Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. 457-9464. We do have the phone lines back up and rolling, so if you do want to attempt to call into the show, we will open those up. Big thank you to the Hall of Famer Hal McCoy for taking time and hanging out with us a bit here on the show today. And, so we'll get back to some of the comments there we go. Back on Facebook, and to pull that back up. Going back through this, Matt Sturgeon says, any mention of UD's road win over number 21 St. Louis? Keep in mind, Matt he gets mad anytime I say anything remotely critical of his team. And to be clear, they were number 22, not number 21, just if I'm going to be. But he doesn't like that if I compliment Wright State right away, he throws a hissy fit. Yeah, he doesn't like it. But anyways, no, last night, that was a huge win. We can't figure out this UD team right now. Like, we've seen them lose to the worst of the worst. They've lost to LaSalle. They've lost to Fordham. But they've also beat Mississippi State. They've beat Ole Miss. They beat a top 25 team last night in St. Louis. And last night, St. Louis, I think the last time they played was December 23rd. Like, they hadn't played in over a month. That's UD did a good job of, capitalizing on that opportunity. And St. Louis thought an opportunity late, but no, that's a huge road win against a top 25 school, and that's exactly what UD needed to hopefully kind of turn around the momentum a little bit. So they got Rhode Island coming up. So they got some big games still coming up, but that's probably their toughest opponent they have remaining. There's still some tough opponents left, but that was probably their toughest opponent on the schedule up until last night. So it's going to be interesting to see how they counter off of that. But no, nonetheless, that they needed a win like that. And they got to 20 pretty quickly. They got, I think, to 20 points around 9 minutes instead of, 13 points in the first half that we were talking about yesterday. So they came out firing, by the way. Like, Crutcher was unbelievable. They were shooting the ball well from behind the three-point line. So that was big. And then, of course, David Shaw says, no, it's UD. If Wright State would have led the show. Okay, Shaw, quality programming every time you chime in. And then Ron Howard, the adult that he is talk football tubby. I don't get it. I don't know why I give Ron a platform. I have no clue.
Y'all gotta stop abusing my guy, man. Come on, man.
I mean, they're right. I mean, I don't work out. I don't eat very well. I would be more pissed if I was actually working out and trying to get healthy, but I'm not. So but see, Ron's anxious, and he's anxious because we were talking Reds baseball. We were talking stuff that wasn't, he's all excited. I don't know if you saw it. Remember, hey, Ron, I saw your little weird picture you took on Facebook. You holding the football like you're Tom Brady or something. You guys are the same age too, if I'm not mistaken. Not 100% sure. But good stuff there from Hal McCoy. Now, Matt's a good dude. Matt says, man, I could listen to Hal all day. Hal's great. And I thought he was perfect to bring on today, just, of course, to dive into a lot of the Hall of Fame discussion. Hal didn't pull any punches. I wasn't going to argue with it. I love to argue with people. I'll argue with callers. I'll argue with you. I'll argue with Schlemmer. I'll argue with anybody. But when Hal McCoy says, he was very short. He goes, oh, no, ethics matter. You ain't getting in if you – I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm just Justin Dan Kidder. I'm nobody.
I didn't know that was on the ballot, like the moral clause was on the ballot. I never knew that.
I didn't know if there was I didn't know that either. And I didn't know if it was a little unwritten rule that they just kind of stick to because baseball is known for that. But no, right. I mean, from that point, I guess, and I always say, just because you don't like the rule doesn't mean you don't have to follow it. Like, that's my big thing. I always say about that in sports when people complain about the penalties, like with the targeting rule in football. Like last year when Ohio State, the Fiesta Bowl with the Clemson game, I always said, look, just because you don't like the rule doesn't mean that it's, that they're wrong for coming. The official made the rule. So here, just because you don't like I don't like the moral clause in there, but if it's a part of it, then okay. Now it makes a little bit of sense as to why some guys are not getting the benefit of the doubt or getting that extra push with that. But yeah, Kurt Schilling, when you're a fringe guy and you don't make good decisions off the field, and keep in mind, it's not just the stuff we talked about earlier. There's a lot of other behind the scenes stuff with them too. That's kind of, it makes it difficult at times, but keep in mind, like Barry Bonds and them, at some point they're going to get in. It's not going to be through it's not going to be through the writers though.
I don't know, man.
But Hal made a good point too about the older guys. They dislike these guys more than the media does.
Right.
I just don't get. Again, it's the same tired argument.
Trying to just figure like, all right, this regime of the writers will eventually fade away and everything like that, and then a new crop of people will be voting. And we've seen their numbers increase over the years. So you might be right, but it's going to be a long time, dude.
I loved Hal's opinion on once you're immediately eligible to be a Hall of Famer, everyone just votes Hall of Famer or not. Your numbers aren't getting better.
Right.
Why does it need to be a year by year drawn out process? I mean, the second that you are eligible to be a Hall of Famer, you're either a Hall of Famer or you're not. You're not going to get better. So I agree with them on that. And that's why I brought up, I think a lot of writers like, we'll get to him later. We'll get to him later. You just keep pushing guys back because it's like, I think he's a Hall of Famer, but I feel like these other guys are better. So I'm going to give them the attention they need first. Forget that. Second, you're eligible to be a Hall of Famer. Boom. You're in or you're not. The voters should vote on it. You are or you're not, and move on. But nonetheless, that is the process. And to be honest, it's kind of good for sports talk because every year you have these talking points to look at. So, no, we asked Hal on a scale of 1 to 3 how confident he is that the season's going to start on time. A month from today, the Reds are scheduled to have their very first spring training game against Cleveland in Arizona. On a scale of 1 to 10, Hal says 3. Not very confident that the season's going to start on time. Now, a lot of it has to do, yes, with some of the COVID concerns in Arizona. There is, a high level spikes there, and the outbreak there, of course. So that's what has a lot of people concerned about having spring training there. But let's be clear, NFL. I mean, Arizona's been high for a while,
right?
And there's been a lot of games played there, whether it's the NBA, whether it's not NBA, but the NFL and others. My point is again, we've played through this pandemic for almost a year now. There's ways to counter it. There's ways to bubble. There's ways to play through it. I don't think it's not going to start on time because of COVID, Kev. I think it's not going to start on time because of the on-lasting war that is the players' union versus the league. If anyone thought that last year when they finally agreed upon a season, if you thought that was them shaking hands and saying, okay, I'm glad we're friends again,
right?
That is definitely not the case. That was more still of a middle finger to the players. Keep in mind, the players had to take, I think they made like 30% of what they were supposed to make in 162 or 160 game season. When you play your 160 whatever games, they only made, so they only made 30% of what they were supposed to. So they're pissed. And then to cap it off, Kev, if you remember, towards the very end of the season, Major League Baseball announces this $1 billion postseason TV deal.
Right.
And the players were fuming. The players union was like, well, we want a cut of that. And they were fuming. So, again, we knew that all of that was going to just be not forgotten about. It was just going to be used as leverage for their next, negotiation. Like, these players aren't about to go through the hell that they went through last year again, making the same amount of money that they made. They want some of their money back. So it's going to be but my thing is everyone lost last year. Everyone took a hit. I'm not a fan. And I keep hearing, I heard today on the show, well, the players union says, well, the contract says we get this. There's a lot of contracts that a lot of teams and owners and everything in the court. Well, of course, the owners got the majority of the money. It's their team. It's no different than in our business.
Right.
The company gets all the money. Like, that's just how it goes. It's unfortunate. It is what it is. I just think that it's too many egos and heads are going to clash. That's
and
what's
as usual, the fans lose out the most.
Yep. But the fans they crapped all over the fans last year. Baseball looked horrible last year.
Yeah.
It was. But like always, fans always say this is going to tune me away. Once the game started, you tuned in. I said I was pissed and wasn't going to tune. I tuned in. I was pulling for the Reds in the World Series or in the playoffs. World Series.
Well, you tuned in because they got good.
But that's what I'm saying.
If they would have continued to play how they were playing in the early part of the season, and when you went on your vacation, they went on that great winning streak.
Yep. That's why I need more vacations.
Like, I noticed you tuned in a lot more when they were winning. I mean, I know you were keeping track of the games, but like when they were on that streak, you was texting me nightly.
well, that too. But keep in mind, that's a given. Yes, that's any year though. I said I wasn't going to tune in last year because the players had disgusted me. When you had, what was it, Blake Snell or whoever it was, that came out and said,
playing
video games. Man, I'm risking my life. And he's coming in like being very dramatic. If you want to strip it down to at the time of not knowing what COVID was going to bring to the table at the time, I thought it was very dramatic. I thought it was very over the top and I'm going to get mine and blah, blah, blah. I just thought that was very selfish at the time of, hey, shut up. Like, you just be quiet. You don't know what's even happening here. The fans are at that time. Keep in mind, that's when the whole entire country shut down. Unemployment, like right now, unemployment's high and we're kind of settled into that, right? But it's at the time it was fresh. So many people lost their jobs, and here he is saying, "Oh no, I want all my millions. I don't just want some of my millions. I want all of it, as if we're supposed to feel sorry for him. So when I said I wasn't going to tune in, I was pissed. It was because of that, not because of, my team's going to be bad, so I'm not going to tune in. But my point is that fans always say because of that, they're not going to tune in. But once the games start, you tune in.
Yeah.
Your fandom doesn't just shut off because of that. I know people say, oh, no, that deterred me from being – then you weren't that big a fan of it to begin with. If you're a diehard fan, you're not going anywhere. You're going to be upset. You're going to be angry, but you're not going anywhere.
True.
All right, 457-9464. Oh, yeah, let's go to Dickie. Dickie, how are you? Did he hang up? Dickie! Oh, my God, just hang up. Just hang up. Oh, my God. What the hell just happened? Was that the True American? That's what it said. On that note, we're going to break. We will be right back. The toilet was flushing.
Go to break.
What the hell? The toilet was flushing. Wash your hands. Don't call back with your pee-pee fingers. Wash your hands. That's gross. I want to hear the damn toilet flushing. We'll be back. That was awesome.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Pros bring something extra to every job. Now at the Home Depot, they also get something extra. Pro Extra, our free loyalty program built for pros just like you. Members earn perks with every dollar spent, like Pro Extra Dollars, a tool rental credit, and more. New members get $20 off their next in-store purchase of $200 or more just for signing up. Learn more at homedepot.com/Pro Extra. New year, more rewards, Pro Extra, only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larick's, continuing the tradition.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
Attention Class A CDL drivers. Looking to be more than just a number? Yoel Transportation in Dayton is looking for drivers with at least 1.5 years experience. Yoel has open positions for no-tarp flatbed drivers and no-touch regional or local van drivers. Yoel is ELD compliant and offers 401k with match, medical, dental, vision, holiday pay, vacation, safety bonuses, and now has a rider policy. Call Rick or Joe at 937-294-5933 and ask about the $5,000 sign-on bonus today.
Hindsight is 2020. 2020 was a brutal year with a lot we couldn't control. Pandemic, economy, unemployment. What can we control? Our job, our career. Don't look back with 2020 hindsight next year and see yourself in that 2020 job. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation.
You could start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. Live online classes meet just twice a week. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Yeah, buying some pretzel sticks?
Excuse me?
This is your wake-up call from TracPhone Wireless.
Okay.
What if you didn't eat all those pretzel sticks by the end of the month, so this store took them back?
Good luck.
That's how some wireless companies are with your data, but TracPhone Wireless gives you unlimited carryover data with active service, so you keep what you paid for. Plans start at $20 a month.
Wow, that's cool.
Sir, are you bothering the customers?
Hang on. This is your wake-up call, people. TracPhone Wireless. Now you're in control. Available at major retailers. See terms and conditions at TracPhone.com.
And Dewey Sausage Conies are back at Skyline Chili. They may look like regular conies, but savory spices in the sausage give them a bold Cajun accent. Come into your neighborhood Skyline today and kick it up a notch with Andouille Sausage Conies, made locally by Queen City Sausage. But you better hurry. Andouille Sausage Conies are only at participating Skyline locations for a limited time. Feeling good. It's Skyline time.
Looking for an easier way to find your next call center or accounting job? It's time to get to know Express Employment Professionals. Find a location near you at expresspros.com.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer. And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. He's Dayton's own Keith Byers. Hang out with him every Monday at noon on the Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. This news came during the break. We talked about how, of course, the Tennessee filled their coaching vacancy. One name that was being floated around that was still just more rumor than anything else. Jason Witten was one of the rumor names to potentially be a coach at Tennessee. Obviously, that is not the case. But after 17 seasons in the National Football League, Jason Witten is retiring for a second time now. He intends to sign a one-day contract and retire a member as the Dallas Cowboys in March when his contract with the Las Vegas Raiders expires. At the end of the year, he's going to retire at 38 years old. He played 16 full seasons with the Cowboys and spent 2020 with the Raiders. And again, no tight end in NFL history. He's played more games than Jason Witten, 271 games. And again, only Hall of Famer Tony Gonzalez has more receptions and yards at that position. So it's obvious Jason Witten will be a future Hall of Famer. Only tight end that has more catches than Jason Witten is Tony Gonzalez. I'd say that's if you're going to trail somebody, Tony Gonzalez is the tight end that, you don't feel no shame. And that 17 years, just a long time.
It's a very long time. Dude, I remember him at Tennessee. I remember him playing football at Tennessee, wore number 1. It was man, the tight ends wearing number 1. That looks cool. Man, that's a long time to be playing in the league.
All right, 457-9464. It's the number to call in and join in on the conversation. Is he back, by the way?
Yes.
We got Dickie. Dickie, how are you, sir?
Hey, Justin. Hey, Kevin.
Hey.
Hey, Justin, I want to say one thing, and Kevin.
Uh-huh.
The Browns really were great this year.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that they beat the Steelers twice. Did you?
Have we talked to you since then?
No, not since then. I'm sort of. I had to take my last week of vacation. I've just been checking around. I've done pretty good, but I'm saying that Stefanski deserves Coach of the Year.
I'm with you. For a while, I was in the Brian Flores boat for that, but because ultimately the Browns made the playoffs and the Dolphins didn't, I'm going to go to Kevin Stefanski. But Flores is just deserving. But I think Kevin Stefanski did a fantastic job. Again, it's one thing to win anywhere you go, but the way that he was able to kind of corral this team to buy into what he was trying to accomplish there, that speaks volumes about how he just controlled that locker room.
Yeah. Hey, I like Hal McCoy's call. I don't know if he ever, but I've written in there about, the Reds and stuff.
Uh-huh.
I guess maybe, I don't know if it's handwritten. I write a lot. I've never been in there.
Oh, we've seen your cards. We get them all the time.
Oh, yeah.
We have every card you've sent us here in the studio.
Yeah, well, you gotta Hey, during this way, you got to keep your buddies and your friends and people that you know in sports,
Absolutely. We try. I'm not joking, Dickie. We have every card you've ever, even back when Slumber was here, we have every card you sent us.
Hey, I just wanted to say to you, my cousin lives in Ted Falls. She's a diehard, Indian fan. She's told me this year she was going to go, but she called me about the Browns and everything, and, it was so neat. You know what I mean?
Oh, I mean, there's been Browns fans for decades waiting to experience what they got to experience a few weeks ago. So, no, it's an exciting time. I promise you that much. And I don't think it's the last time they get that. I think they're going to be a playoff team again next year. We'll see what they do this offseason. Dickie, you think there'll be a baseball season starting on time?
No, I don't.
Why not?
I don't know. I hope they do. I heard they were supposed to get 162 games in, aren't they?
The plan is to have, to start everything. A month from today is supposed to be the very first spring training game that actually features the Reds and the Cleveland baseball team. So, but I don't think it starts on time either. But no, the goal is to get a full season in.
Too, Justin and Kevin, as you know, when Art was there, by hobby, is music and all that stuff. But I've got a couple leads. City of Beaver Creek called me. We're not been playing. We'll be back February 13th. But a couple of my friends, the Beaver Creek Strummers, and then there's this place in Fairborn. This guy called me. He said there's a little session. So, I'm getting.
You're gonna get back to playing, huh?
Huh?
You're gonna come out of retirement, huh, and get back to playing?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Attaboy.
Yeah. I was practicing the other day, but this lady called me and told me about it, and a couple of my friends. This one guy plays the steel guitar, so I've got some pretty good leads coming up.
Attaboy, we'll get, it's good that you got some plans coming up. Hey, it was good talking to you.
Yeah, have a great day. I'll keep in touch.
Go Browns.
Go Browns. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, that was Dickie. I was going to say, we hadn't heard from him since the Browns made the playoffs, and you could tell how excited he was there. So Justin Kidder Show with Kevin Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. The Hal McCoy interview is posted, so subscribe, download to the Justin Kidder Show podcast. You'll have access to that. You can go back and listen to it in your leisure, but we covered a lot with Hal. Learned a lot in that conversation, about a good 15-minute conversation with Hal about the Hall of Fame. Of course, he's been a voter for a long time. I tried to ask him who was the very first player that received his vote. He couldn't remember who the first player was. That's how many. That's a lot. It's decades. We're talking decades of votes that he has had to submit. So interestingly enough, but it's a good conversation. Back to the Facebook. What were we gonna say?
No, you're good.
Back to the Facebook feed. Vincent Waller says a prediction for Ohio State football. The Tate Martell saga comes full circle. He transfers back to OSU, wins the starting job, gets benched midway through the season due to poor play and 2 losses, leaves the team and resurfaces in the CFL 2 years later. You've thought that out. You really thought that out. My goodness.
Man, where is he going to end up, man?
UCF. They need a quarterback.
No, they don't.
I thought the quarterback transferred.
No.
The old quarterback transfer, the one that got hurt. Okay.
Mackenzie Milton transferred, but Gabriel, who led him to the last couple of years, is still there. Isn't it time to go back home to the West Coast? You're from, Las Vegas. You've been out this way for this long. I would imagine you probably want to get home, right?
Who knows at this point? He enjoyed Miami. Welcome to Miami.
Hey.
Good for him, by the way.
I was about to say.
You already know what I'm talking about, too. Holy smokes. That was impressive. I ain't giving you a lie. Good for him, as I said. But no, I don't know where he ends up. I don't think he's a starter at a high Power 5 school.
No, he's definitely not, because you know why? He hasn't played at all.
The American?
Dude, he don't have any reps. He don't have any reps. He has some backup reps with the Buckeyes, and that's it. He has no reps. So you're not going to, no Power 5 school or even non-Power 5 school. Come on, man. You're going to be the guy that we give the keys to.
I think
you don't have
done.
any. Yeah.
I think he's just done. But it's amazing to me. He clearly had the tools. Obviously he was recognized. He got recruited, committed to Ohio State. Miami picked him up right away. That's the thing. He left Ohio State because Justin Fields was coming in, and if you're going to lose the starting job, at least it's to someone like that that's super talented. And we just assumed when he left and went to Miami, and he got cleared to play right away, that he was going to be the guy in Miami, and then he ends up not being the starter when that season started. And hell, he wasn't even at one point he was MIA in the middle of the season, wasn't even a quarterback by the end of the season. He was a complete mess. Jason Campos says that the crystal ball says that Tate is a running rebel.
Going home.
That's what he talks about.
I mean,
well, that doesn't mean he'll play.
Right. Yeah. Dude, he's a senior. Like this saga has been going on long enough for him to be a redshirt senior coming up this year.
And drama is always worth it if you have the talent to back it up.
Yeah.
But these schools, Miami weren't dealing with that. But actually, they did deal with it. They kept him on the roster a little bit too long, and he's not good enough to put up with that. Is he good enough to get another chance? Who knows? But either way, entering the transfer portal, that could have been Miami just saying, you know what, I think it's best we just part ways.
Yeah, you're not going to be starting over De'Aaron King next year.
No.
So.
But for him, a backup to De'Aaron King or a backup for a good Power 5 job is still better than being a starter for some crap school that he's going to end up going to, because he's not going to the NFL. So I don't know what – if lifetime means that much to you, more power to you.
Yeah, to play, to all right, say, hey, I want to play one last time because I'm not going to the NFL. I'm probably not going to the CFL. I want to play competitive football for one last time and be out there and play some football instead of holding a clipboard. Like, that's got to be his mindset because he has nothing else. I hope he paid attention in school and took advantage of getting that education.
Buckeye fans, how come I don't feel that same sense of pride about him as you do Joe Burrow? We need to stop saying once a Buckeye, always a Buckeye, because you guys don't mean it. Buckeye fans, stop spewing that. I hear Flyers do once a Flyer, always a Flyer. No, it's not true. It's only if they're still good. Where's Sam Miller at, by the way? Where did he end up? Sam Miller.
I don't even know who that is.
The big old post player when Archie was here. He punched a guy. He got sent to jail. I don't even know where he is now. It was an impressive punch, though. Actually, he got punched. He didn't punch the guy. He got punched. You didn't see the video go viral?
No.
That's what we're doing during the break.
Let me see that. Let me see.
It was like Paul versus Nate Robinson. Not joking. It was just Oregon. It was and sleep. Yeah. All right. Way off topic here. How about this? Northwestern Wildcats, they reward Pat Fitzgerald with a 10-year deal. Pat Fitzgerald, his name got brought up for some potential NFL jobs. This
brought up for the Bears.
This reminds me of like when Purdue, the year after Purdue beat Ohio State, they gave their coach Braun, they gave him a big 10-year contract or a big deal. I don't know if it's 10. It was a big contract. That's what this is. The Big Ten just, I don't know.
But he's one of their own. He's won plenty of games there. Like,
I'm saying that without having a counter of who they should have hired, but it's like, by the way, he's done his job. He's a great coach. He's done a good job there, but it's like, I think that's as good as they're going to be. Like, I don't think they get any better than this. Good, solid defensive team, capable scoring, have a good run game, capable passing.
He was he was the starting linebacker on the team that went to the Rose Bowl back in, I want to say 95, I believe it was. Been their head coach for a long time. Like, he's the longest tenured coach there, and I think he's only like 42 years old or something like that. Like, it was second, obviously, to I was gonna say Fitzgerald, but he's Fitzgerald, to Iowa's coach. So he's been there for a long. Ferentz, yeah, there you go. He's been there for a long time. I think he's a great head coach. Like, people that always try to connect dots with him, like, oh man, he's gonna take over at Penn State. He's not taking another college job. The only job he's going to take is he's going to go to the pros if he ever does it.
You don't think he takes any job outside Northwestern?
No.
But here's my problem with
he's had plenty of opportunities.
Like, and I feel bad even criticizing this because this is it's a big deal for North. I think it's a good signing for Northwestern, signing extension. It's just, but you're not going. The program, it is what it is. It's not. It's there. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to go up from here. And there's too many programs like that in the Big Ten where, Purdue has a good year. That good year just means you beat Ohio State, but you still had 2 to 3, 4. Is the Big Ten better because of this? It's not worse because of it.
I think they are.
It's not better for it. I just think they're not worse for it. They're just not better for it. The Big Ten's been running in place for way too long, though.
I think they're better for it because if he leaves, then you lose that feel and that Northwestern, like, all right, you better come to play. If you don't play Northwestern straight up, they'll get you.
Yep.
And if he goes somewhere, they're gonna lose some of that. Like, he is the program. Like, he's like think about it. He's been there since, I want to say 2000. I want to say he's been there like since 2002. I'll Google that to make sure, but
he's going to be with them through 2030. So.
He ain't going nowhere, man. You live in Chicago, great city, great schools, your alma mater. Good for him, man.
Yeah, look, he, 46 years old. He was the coach of the year in 2020, won the Big Ten Coach of the Year in 2018. Several NFL teams really showed interest in him. Like I said, it's not a bad side. It's a good side. It's just for the Big Ten. It's just kind of, okay, good. That keeps them going. It keeps them winning games. I just don't know what to do. I guess I'm looking at it through the lens of an Ohio State fan of, I still didn't do anything for. I mean, we beat them twice in the Big Ten title game,
but you got to
do anything for us.
Like sometimes, especially in college football, there's some programs their max potential is just that.
And I think that's what this is here. And I guess, I need to start. This isn't a Northwestern problem. This is a Big Ten problem in regards to higher expectations. Some of those need to be met by Penn State. Some of the Michigan State.
I think Northwestern is doing their part. I just don't think that Penn State, Michigan are doing their part.
So this is a good deal for the school. I mean, of course, I've never once said it wasn't a good deal for the school. I guess I was just thinking the lines of, all right, I mean, we've seen they had a chance, though. They ticked me off. They had a chance to be in the playoff conversation.
Sparty lost.
Because if they beat Sparty last year, they're heading into the Big Ten title game undefeated. The very first college football playoff ranking that came out, Northwestern was number 8.
Yeah.
And if they beat Michigan State, they're probably ahead of Cincinnati. I don't care. They're probably going to get ahead of Cincinnati. And if they would have remained undefeated all the way to the Big Ten championship game, there were some weeks where 5 or 6 was just a toss-up. We were putting 1 and 2 loss teams there. Northwestern could have been a outside looking in team heading into the Big Ten title game, and we saw how they played Ohio State tough. Mm-hmm. If they would have upset Ohio State in the Big Ten title game undefeated, they would have been in the playoff. Yeah. Like Northwestern shot themselves in the foot. They missed out on a chance to capitalize on a vulnerable situation. But it's good for them. But I need to stop beating up on them, really, the programs that need to be held to a higher standard. Michigan State, Michigan, Penn State. Penn State's been great. They've been fine. But, Franklin, you need to do more. You've done enough. You need to do more.
Penn State's been good, but they need to be great.
Yeah. Because they recruit good enough to be great. Right. There's no reason to continue losing those big game after big game to Ohio. They actually have more pressure on them than Michigan. Michigan hasn't been doing. I mean, let me get that argument going all over again. But you know my point.
Yeah, because you look at it, and from the outside looking in, you expect obviously Ohio State to be there, Michigan to be there. They haven't been there. Penn State to be there. They are good, but they're not great. So the second best team in the Big Ten is Wisconsin. But in reality, from just the outside looking in, you would expect them to be like 3rd or 4th, but they're really the second best team in the conference. And that happens yearly. So Penn State, Michigan, y'all need to pick it up because Wisconsin's doing their part. Northwestern's playing their role. They're being Northwestern, being pesky, hanging around with Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game, causing us all types of havoc, giving us a heart attack, like, oh man, we about to lose and it's about to be Northwestern. Like, that's nothing new. Like, that's their role, and they serve their role. The other teams in the Big Ten, Penn State, Michigan, step up.
All right, 457-9464. That's the number to call in and join in on the conversation. The Clemson Tigers lose Trevor Lawrence, and they'll replace him with DJ Uiagalelei. How about that? I've been working on that. Uiagalelei. So the Clemson Tigers replace Trevor Lawrence with DJ Uiagalelei. And the way too early, Uiagalelei. I got that out 3 straight times. That's pretty impressive. Now, the Clemson Tigers are number 1 in the way too early top 25 poll that was released earlier today from ESPN. Who's number 2? Who's number 3? 4, 5, 6, 7. Where's Ohio State fall in there? Ohio State's not in the top 3, not in the top 4. We'll tell you where Ohio State falls in this list. And are they being disrespected? Well, in the eyes of every Buckeye fan, of course they are. But we'll be back in a moment. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kevin Nash next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Paid for by Protect My Car. Restrictions may apply. Plans and costs for coverage may vary. Call for details.
These days, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a car, truck, or SUV made from 1999 or higher, you could stop paying for car repairs. That's right. You might not have to pay a penny to have it repaired. Just call 800-914-1387 now to see if you qualify. You must have an automobile made from 1999 or higher, and all repairs for your engine, transmission, and much more can become a thing of the past. Call 800-914-1387 today and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. That's right, total protection for your car and no more repair bills. Plus, call 800-914-1387 right now and get free roadside assistance, free towing, free car rental, and free oil changes. Just call 800-914-1387 now to see if your car qualifies. That's 800-914-1387. Never pay for car repairs again. Just call 800-914-1387. 800-914-1387.
Does heel pain make you hobble just getting out of bed in the morning? If heel pain is affecting your ability to exercise and meet your walking or running goals, relief is as close as your local podiatrist. Podiatric physicians are highly trained doctors who specialize in medical and surgical treatment of the foot and ankle. Ohio Foot and Ankle podiatric physicians are available across the state and are devoted to providing the highest quality foot and ankle care. To find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit associationsadvanceohio.com.
Tie ball game with the shot clock winding down now. Jones takes the ball to point off the high screen and roll. He puts up the shot at the buzzer, and it's
Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. Dayton Flyers basketball fans can't make it to the arena this season, but want to experience a safe electric college game day atmosphere? Timothy's Bar and Grill is the spot to support the Flyers all season long. Follow Timothy's Bar and Grill on Facebook and Twitter for select game day specials. Go Flyers!
Heard the good news about COVID-19 vaccines? They're here, but you can do more than wait for your turn. Here's how. Stay at least 6 feet away from folks you don't live with. And it's risky to be indoors with them, too. And masks? Well, they protect both the person wearing them and the folks around them. Wear a mask, watch your distance, and make a big difference now.
Learn more about vaccines at cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Allstate now has deeper savings, and deeper savings require deep thoughts and a deep voice, like mine. Save for being a new customer. Save more for adding DriveWise, and save even more for driving safely. Visit allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. As someone once said, saving today is money tomorrow. That's deep.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. DriveWise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Staples has everything you need to start the year right, like home office furniture, the latest tech, and organizational supplies, and all at amazing prices. Get a fresh start this year with big savings from Staples.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Fire Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio. WYNG 1410 Dayton. Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's the Justin Kenner Show, live here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kenner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kenner.
Justin Kenner, Kev Nash, back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Hope you're having a great day. The way too early top 25 college football poll that was just released by ESPN earlier today has the Clemson Tigers coming in at number 1, of course. And there's a lot of question marks about how a team can move on from a quarterback like Trevor Lawrence, who's one of college football's all-time greatest quarterbacks. And you look, it's not easy. But the one thing that we had discussed earlier in the year was that the one thing that kind of was going in favor of Clemson was the fact that they got a brief glimpse into what their future is with DJ Uli. Oh, damn it. I was doing so good. Uilago away. DJ Uilago Uguialaway. I can't even do it anymore, man. I said it 3 times fast earlier today. I was killing it, and then I just butchered it. Uguialaway. There we go. So let me reset. So the Clemson Tigers really got a good opportunity to see what their future was going to be. With Trevor Lawrence out due to COVID, they had DJ Uiagalelei. Damn it, it's close enough. The point is, the kid balled out. Like, he looked really, really good. And it looks as if Clemson's going to be able to kind of just continue moving on as is, even without Trevor Lawrence. Like, that's how good he looked. And he played in some big games. It wasn't as if he played against some scrubs. I mean, he threw for 400-plus yards against Notre Dame, and he had that minute to win it. Obviously, they didn't, but that was more because of the defense than it was actually the quarterback who threw for 400-plus yards against Notre Dame in that double overtime loss. So there are still question marks, of course, about Tony Elliott and Brent Venables and company. Brent Venables ain't going anywhere, but Tony Elliott's name's being brought up for some potential openings. Regardless, though, it's going to be a situation where you feel comfortable who you have at quarterback. And, of course, Clemson, just like Ohio State and Alabama, they don't rebuild, they reload. And I always say this about coaches. When I really buy into what a coach is doing on a program, it's not what you're doing with one recruiting class, it's what you do with multiple recruiting classes. Can you get through one class, win, and then replace the class with another winning class and keep it going? That's when I really start buying in, and that's why I've bought into what Dabo Swinney's doing at Clemson. You have Deshaun Watson, has all the success that he had there, and then, of course, wins the national title with Deshaun Watson. Not even, a year, 2 years later, he's winning a national championship with Trevor Lawrence, and now Clemson might be well on their way to winning another national championship in the near future with just DJ is his name. Forget it. You're right. I was getting cocky. I was showing off. DJ is his name. We're on a first-name basis with him. But I think that DJ has what it takes. But Clemson, number one, heading into next year. No surprise, though, Kev, because, look, Alabama, they're just literally loaded with NFL talent on the offensive and defensive side of the ball this past season, winning their national championship, and a lot of that talent's leaving to the NFL. Doesn't surprise me that they come in at number 2, but Clemson being number 1 shouldn't surprise anybody.
No, it shouldn't. Clemson should be number 1. I am a little surprised that Bama's coming in at 2, as much as they're losing. The big-time guys that they're losing, obviously, their quarterback, Mac Jones, Najee Harris, obviously the Heisman Trophy winner, Devontae Smith, I'm sorry. But they're losing. I
was doing that. I got some tweets and stuff last night saying people went back to listen to the show and said, you kept calling him Devontae Adams, right? Well, Devontae's pretty damn good no matter who you're talking about, so continue.
But they're losing offensive linemen, too. They're losing one of the best offensive linemen. Have you seen this kid? It's like
they said it looks like a created character in Madden. When you just create these, super,
so they're losing guys up front. Obviously, they got the 5-star guy, Bryce Young, who everybody thought was going to be the starting quarterback this year. But he got outshined in camp by Mac Jones, and Mac Jones went on to fall out this year.
Dad bod Mac Jones?
Yeah.
It makes me feel like I can go be quarterback for Alabama.
So I am a little surprised there. I think Ohio State is fairly placed at number 5 because obviously they're losing.
You jerk.
Me?
Yeah, I haven't even got there. I never reviewed it. What the heck? Kev Washington. What? You get the Kev Washington treatment now. Kev Nash. I mean, what the hell?
Loser.
What? Loser. Well, the cat's out of the bag, folks. Have a great night. No, you're good. Yeah, Ohio State comes in at number 5. But no, keep going. But you're right, though. It's no surprise who's on the top 5 at this point. But Ohio State comes in at number 5.
We'll break them to who's number 3 then.
No, you're totally fine. It's a freaking way too early top 25. But Alabama coming in at number 2. Oklahoma is getting the number 3 treatment mainly because of Spencer Rattler. Look, Oklahoma had a couple big losses early in the season last year. Lincoln Riley's luck ran out. You could only be great for so. He was really fortunate to go from Baker Mayfield to Kyler Murray to Jalen Hurts, and Rattler was great, but he had some learning.
He was a freshman.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a learning curve at the beginning of the season. You didn't have experienced guys like Kyler Murray, maybe who hadn't started, but he was experienced and been in the system. Right. Rattler had to learn on the go. But what you could tell by the end of the year is one of the top quarterbacks in college football. And I think Oklahoma's going to pick up where they left off. They come in at number 3.
Yeah, I do worry about them because they lost the transfer. Charleston Rambo, he transferred to Miami. I know they still have Marvin Mims there as a wide receiver. But it's kind of like how you said with them before with Kyler Murray and Jalen Hurts. They were still throwing to CeeDee Lamb.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't throwing to CeeDee Lamb. He was throwing to younger receivers as well. But like you said, throughout the season. He got better. They started clicking on offense. They really actually started running the ball. And, we look at the bowl game victory they had over Florida. Florida wasn't playing a lot of guys. A lot of guys opted out to get ready for the NFL and everything like that. But you know what Oklahoma did? They still went out there and played because their team was nothing but freshmen and sophomores. So I know these bowl games really don't matter anymore because they're totally exhibition games because guys start opting out because they're not playing in the playoff and everything like that. But wins like that to the guys that still care, they're still on the team because they have nowhere else to go because they can't. That can propel you into having a good season. And also, sneaky, they had a good defense last year.
Yep. And I know that sounds like foreign in the Big 12, but you're absolutely right. Again, if you're just tuning in, Johnston Kiddo, Kevin Nash with you here. ESPN released it's way too early. It's not 25 for next season. Kind of fun to take a look at it. I was trying to be dramatic. I was trying to build. I was trying to get everyone to be like, man, so they're not number 1. They're not number 3. Man, Justin said they're not even number 4. Man, how far back did they drop? And I'm building suspense. I'm setting it up. And then here comes Kevin to let everyone know the truth about Santa Claus. I mean, it's just unreal what Kevin just pulled here. But Georgia Bulldogs coming in at number 4. And I'm surprised they're at number 4. Okay, I'm not really to buy everything Georgia, they're bringing everybody back.
Yeah.
It was big. No, JT Daniels. I think JT Daniels is going to be very similar. I mean, this could be, look out for JT Daniels. He could be like Joe Burrow. I know this sounds really crazy. Think of the year JT Daniels just had with Georgia. It was just enough. It was just good enough to win games. Joe Burrow the first year with LSU was just good enough. Again, but it's all going to be about the offensive system. I'm not saying JT Daniels is going to have a good season as Joe Burrow next year, but look out for year number 2 in the system.
Right.
Joe Burrow's first year in LSU, kind of getting comfortable, kind of getting settled in. I mean, first year's, the same thing with JT Daniels, the transfer from USC. He's going to be his second full year in Kirby Smart's system, or Georgia system, I should say. I expect a big year to Georgia because it's not just what they're bringing back on offense, Kev. I mean, their offensive line, their key wide receivers, but like you have James Cook and Zamir White. Like look at a lot of those guys. The defensive side of the ball is what I'm really impressed with because that's where Alabama. They didn't have a great defensive team this year, and they're replacing a lot of guys. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what Alabama's defense is going to look like. LSU is they look like a train wreck towards the end of the year. Yeah. They're dealing with some stuff behind the scenes too. So I look at Georgia. They're coming in at number 4. I wouldn't be surprised if they're battling with Alabama for number 2. I would switch Georgia and Oklahoma, but that just speaks volumes about the confidence people have in Spencer Rattler and Marvin Mims and guys like that heading into next year.
Yeah, the thing about JT Daniels and Georgia in general, I mean, before he even got to play, they went with the former walk-on. I believe his name was like Stetson Bennett, sound like a cologne. Then they went to the 5-star recruit.
Try some Stetson.
Then they went to the 5-star recruit Mathis, who basically entered the transfer portal. And then they finally were able to unleash JT Daniels for whatever reason. I'm still not sure why he wasn't playing from the jump. I'm not sure if it was still an injury concern or a clearance with the NCAA. But by the time he got in there, their offense started clicking. And when you have 2 running backs like Zamir White and James Cook, you're always dangerous. And that big, bad offensive line, and they're going to play defense with Kirby Smart there, so they're dangerous.
Yeah, look, I think Georgia's going to be, better than advertised, I think, at this point. But coming in at number 4, good for them. This isn't the SEC network, so I'm going to get off
means more.
I do like JT Daniels, though, especially heading into year 2. And that's where you see a lot of quarterbacks take off. But I do think, to be fair, if I'm going to give Georgia the nod as a year 2 guy and JT Daniels, then I have to give Oklahoma the same love because Spencer Rattler, I thought, looked better than JT Daniels did a good job of he was just a good, solid quarterback, a very good SEC quarterback. But Rattler looks like the real deal, and I think that's why they have Oklahoma coming in at number 3. You talked about their defense too, Oklahoma. They were a younger defensive unit this year. They're going to be even better next year with more experience. Coming in at number 5 is the Ohio State Buckeyes. They talk about in the write-up, talking about, the concerns for Ohio State. You're losing Justin Fields and Sean Wade. In my opinion, losing Sean Wade, you're getting better. Look, I do feel bad. In all seriousness, I was very critical of Sean Wade all year, but I feel like that kid lost more than anybody coming back. And he was one of the big reasons Ohio State did come back. It was Justin Fields, who was the most popular player on the team. He was the face of the #WeWantToPlay movement.
Right.
But Sean Wade, man, he was just as active. He was just as loud. He was just as boisterous about making sure that the Big Ten had a season and that Ohio State could play. Sean Wade was a first-round prospect. If he didn't play this year, he would be a first-round draft pick easily. I don't think he's a second-round draft pick at this point. I think he fell off the map. That he got picked apart this year. Opposing quarterbacks, they didn't throw away from him; they threw to him. They didn't fear him, and it's not just that they threw to him. They decimated, they destroyed him. Every game. Trevor Lawrence. Say what you want about Ohio State beating Trevor Lawrence and Clemson. Trevor Lawrence had a field day going at him. But regardless, you're replacing two guys like that who had a lot of experience. But it's coming down basically to C.J. Stroud and Jack Miller.
Right.
Jack Miller, again, I believe it. He's, talking about him. He set the Arizona high school record, like 115 career passing touchdowns in high school, Kev. The kid can sling it. C.J. Stroud, he's the number 2 pocket passer in the ESPN 300, in the 2020 ESPN 300. And then you also have incoming freshman Kyle McCord. I forgot all about Kyle McCord.
Right.
And by the way, Kyle McCord, we're talking about those three. There's an even better quarterback coming in the year 2021 or 2022. They have one of the best quarterbacks there that they got from Texas. They actually flipped from Texas. So Ohio State has so much talent at quarterback coming up in the coming years. But the third quarterback on the list for this coming up year, the number 4 pocket passer in 2021, Kyle McCord. So it's young. It's a lot of youth, but guys that kicked ass in high school and guys that have won at every level. And I think that Ohio State having a question mark at quarterback, I think the question is not whether these kids can play, it's which one of these is going to be the guy. And I think that overall you have to trust Ohio State at this point to say, hey, they don't rebuild, they reload. They're replacing a lot of the guys, but man, they're replacing a lot though, Kim, but they do have a very good receiving core. And I do think Chris Olave coming back, having that type of presence on the field, what kind of chemistry he's able to develop, whether it's Jack Miller, whether it's C.J. Stroud or Kyle McCord, which it won't be. If I had to put money on it, McCord's not the guy. It's probably C.J. Stroud, Jack Miller, McCord. One of those three is going to transfer. As I've said before, if you're Ohio State, whatever guy transfers, make sure it's not the Joe Burrow Heisman winning quarterback, okay? That's all I care about at this point.
2 of those guys are going to transfer. We just don't know which 2 it is.
Why 2? Because I like the Ewers kid coming in for 2022. They're saying that he is better than all of these guys, and all of these guys are tremendous quarterbacks.
Because that's what they do. That's what the kids do now. If they don't win that spot, they're out. And I think that, Ohio State has built a culture where, you do get a situation like Joe Burrow, like you do get strong academics and you handle your schoolwork and you're able to graduate early and get up out of there, have your degree and transfer to somewhere else and be able to play 2 more years. Two of these dudes going to transfer. The dudes that's this highly touted, they're not going to just sit there and be, all right, man, I didn't win it. I'll just be on the sidelines. This just doesn't happen that way. But this is going to sound crazy coming from me because I don't do this. Whoever wins the quarterback gig will be perfectly fine. They're going to be perfectly fine. The thing that I'm worried about is the defense for Ohio State. You're replacing 3 average linebackers with guys that were just as highly rated as those guys coming out of high school, some more highly rated than the guys that were starting, and they couldn't get on the field last year. Matter of fact, they couldn't get on the field for the last 3 years. So that's where I'm at with it. I'm worried about the linebackers. I'm worried about the secondary. Basically, I'm worried about my silver bullet defense being back to what it should be. I am desperately worried about the defense. I know the offense is going to score points. They'll be perfectly fine on offense. I'm worried about the defense.
All right, 457-9464. That's the number to call in and join in on the conversation. Again, the ESPN college football way too early, top 25, looking ahead to next season. I'm pumped. I like quarterback battles when you trust the program that they're there. Like Oklahoma, those fans have just got to the point where they just trust their system so much that, we lost Baker Mayfield. We're screwed. Oh, no, this Kyler Murray kid's oh, okay, well, cool. We got, Jalen Hurts is a transfer, but you just trust your program. Right. Oklahoma fans trust their program that they're going to make the right decision who's the quarterback. And I don't think Ohio State's – I can't remember the last time they made a wrong decision at quarterback. They found themselves in situations – I know I was critical of JT, but you can't argue the greatness of JT Barrett. Let's just be clear. I think they could have been better with others. But, again, it's the situation where JT was so damn good, just like Dwayne Haskins was, just like Cardale Jones was, like Braxton was before he got hurt. And then you go – look at all the guys that left. Mm-hmm. Who was the one quarter – we talked about Joe Burrow and Dwayne Haskins. There was another quarterback that went to, North Carolina? Or that was the running back? Yeah, who was the other quarterback at Ohio State that transferred out? It's going to drive me nuts now. I wish I would have looked this up before. Some Burka fan, you blah, 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 blah. I'm going to get that, but I cannot remember who it was. there was 3 quarterbacks that we knew it was a long shot. It's kind of like we talked about with McCord here. It was the Kyle McCord of the trio of Dwayne Haskins, Joe Burrow, and blank.
Drawing a blank. Drawing a total
blank. All right. Well, on to the next one. Team number 6 coming in. The team that no matter how it's like they got better, the more they lost. The committee loves teams in the SEC who lose because they get better. Texas A&M coming in at number 6. What, this would be year 3 for your former coach?
I think this is year 4.
Jimbo. Oh, so, wow. So you're right. It is. So this will be year 4 for Jimbo. If you're Texas A&M, and by the way, good for Jimbo because Texas A&M is a regular now here at the top of this, right? Mm-hmm. Like he has turned that program around, and he has them as national contenders now. The problem is it's not just trying to be better than Alabama. You got to get to Georgia's level first because we're talking about Georgia getting to Alabama's level, and Georgia's still like a little bit of an arm length away. Texas A&M, we're thinking, oh man, they're number 5, they're number 6 every time now. Yeah, but they gotta beat Georgia, they gotta beat Alabama, they gotta prove that they're one of those teams because right now they're getting the benefit of the doubt, but they really do need to get a big time win, and that's going to be key for them moving forward. But they do have Kellen Mond. Kellen Mond is gone now, so it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of replace some of these guys next year.
I thought he was going to come back and use that extra year eligibility.
It wasn't Tate Jake. It wasn't Tate Martell. It was another quarterback. I swear they had a third quarterback that transferred out. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Trust me, I know Tate Martell real well. I'm a big Tate Martell fan. But, Jake, I swear there was another quarterback, and I'm probably wrong then. Maybe I'm wrong. Keep going. I know the running back trio, too. They had a lot of guys transfer out. But anyways, keep going, Kevin.
No, but like what Jimbo's doing down there at Texas A&M, I didn't think it could be done, to be perfectly honest. I mean, first year I think he won 9 games, second year 8 games, and this year they won 9 games with an all SEC schedule. That's pretty tough to do. Yeah, they got blew out by Alabama, but you know what? That's how you build a program, and Jimbo's building a hell of a program at Texas A&M. I think they can be right there. I mean, you look at everything that went wrong at LSU last year. Texas A&M can take that second spot, and all they really have to do, I know it sounds easy, but to beat Alabama. And Alabama isn't unbeatable. Mm-hmm. Like we saw Auburn beat them year after year. Like, you know, they will win some years, they will lose some years. They'll win some years, lose some years. So you don't have to beat Alabama all the time. You just got to beat them once. So I think they're capable of doing that.
And who's in their regular? By the way, they always have these super insane regular season conference games. Like they always get the best of the SEC. They never get
less.
Yeah. But 457-9464 continuing to go on here. I think I've lost my mind. I really don't think that there was another quarterback. But why am I? It doesn't matter, Justin. You could figure this out on your own time. I'm literally trying to talk myself through this. Number 7, no love for Cincinnati. Out of the top 10, they're not even in the top 10. North Carolina coming in at number 7. And actually, you know, North Carolina's been a good feel-good team the last couple of years. You know, you get Mac Brown, who won a national title with Texas. He goes back to his old school, and not only does he come back, but he takes an irrelevant program that's a basketball school, and they start winning more games, and they become a little dangerous. They're coming in at number 7. This is an interesting year for Mac Brown in North Carolina. This could either be the beginning of an extension with Mac Brown, or this could be the beginning of the end, because I think that for the first time since Mac Brown's return, there's actually expectations and pressure. It's year 3. You've gotten better every year. You can't flatline or regress. If you are North Carolina, you have to win this year. And let's be honest, the ACC is not good. The ACC is not good. They got to figure it out. I think that there's a lot of pressure. I think there's more pressure on North Carolina and the ACC than there is Texas A&M and the SEC. Because there's a lot of justifiable losses in the SEC. There's not justifiable losses when you're North Carolina in the ACC. You disagree?
I don't know. I mean, they just had 2 teams in the college football playoff.
Yeah, but Notre Dame ain't going to be in the ACC next year. Do you really consider them? I mean, are you giving the ACC the full credit for Notre Dame?
I mean, last year they were for sure. I mean, they played another but an ACC schedule. I don't know. I mean, and also, like, they're still working. I mean, Notre Dame
Matt
still
Baldwin.
plays.
Thank you. There we go.
Good
there
job.
It is.
What did he?
Adam Hill, Jake Overholt,
TCU.
TCU.
Yep.
Okay, I haven't lost my mind completely. I was like, I know there was another quarterback in there somewhere. I am not losing my mind. But yes, Jake Overholt and Adam Hill, you guys are the real MVP. Thank you. Listen, times are tough. We can't afford producers, so you guys got to be our help. I can't pay you. But, that sounds like any interview we do. I just need anyone to help out. So, Jake Overholt's Adam Hill on Facebook. Thank you guys. Giving you guys a shout out. Continue, Kev. The ACC with North Carolina talk.
I think think they're going to be good because you got to think about it like this. Sam Howell, this is a money year for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was a big time freshman season, good season this year. But like, he's looking to try to go pro, so he got the ball out, right? That's what the expectations are. They're bringing in all these recruits that everybody is falling over them for and everything like that. So I think you're right. They have to win. They have to win big. You know, I mean, a loss to Clemson is acceptable, but a loss to Florida State isn't. You know, like they did last year. You know, so being down to Florida State basically 35-0 is unacceptable for them this upcoming season.
They don't play Clemson. That's another reason why.
Oh, then they catch first seat.
The pressure's I think the pressure is through the roof.
All they got is Virginia Tech then.
So their schedule next year, again, assuming that the ACC plays non-conference games, which I anticipate that they will, but you never know. Georgia State, that's a W. Wake Forest, W. Notre Dame.
Let's get it on.
North Carolina, though, you got to understand, if you are for real, you can afford a loss to Notre Dame, a close one, win out, and have a shot to beat Clemson in the ACC title game to get to the playoff. So you're allowed one loss. You're not allowed two.
Right.
I don't think you're allowed a loss in the ACC title game against Clemson, though. So if you're going to lose, it probably should be to Notre Dame. But, you have Wofford, whatever the hell they are. But then, Georgia Tech, NC State, Duke, Florida State. Miami's probably, a tough game. But again, if you're for real, you should beat Miami. And if Miami's for real, they should beat you.
They ran for 500 yards on Miami last year.
They got Virginia, Pitt, Virginia Tech. So, no, North Carolina, I think that there is a lot of pressure. As far as that's concerned for what they have coming up. Okay, quickly, again, continuing to go down this top 25 list. So we had Clemson at number 1, Bama 2, Oklahoma at 3.
Yep.
So, but I tell you what, we'll continue to break these down and take a look at these here in the final hour of the show. I'm Justin Kenner. He's Kev Nash. We'll take a look. Where does Cincinnati fall? They're not in the top 10. Kev Nash will ruin it for you when we come back. Don't go anywhere. More of the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash next.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be cloudy, a high near 33. Tonight's going to be partly cloudy and cold, a low around 18. And tomorrow will be mainly clear and sunny, a high near 30. I'm Pete Spyback for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Napa know-how.
Getting $20 back when you buy a Napa Legend premium battery is a win-win. Getting it from the best car people around is a win-win-win. Getting it before you're stranded somewhere, that's a win-win-win-win. Save $20 when you get a Napa Legend premium battery. And if that sounds like a lot of wins, you're right. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores and Napa Auto Care Centers. While supplies last. Offer ends 2/28/21.
Pros bring something extra to every job. Now at the Home Depot, they also get something extra. Pro Extra, our free loyalty program built for pros just like you. Members earn perks with every dollar spent, like Pro Extra Dollars, a tool rental credit, and more. New members get $20 off their next in-store purchase of $200 or more just for signing up. Learn more at homedepot.com/Pro Extra. New year, more rewards, Pro Extra, only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
This is Dr. Mashika Roberts, Columbus Health Commissioner. The pandemic is more than a physical health issue. As parents, it's important to remember that our children are also coping with drastic life changes. 1 in 4 teens misuse a prescription drug at least once in their lifetime. We must talk to our kids about healthy coping strategies and the dangers of prescription drug misuse. Visit don'tliveinDenial.org to learn how to dispose of your leftover pills and talk to your kids about opiates.
Find your style with Patriot Lighting from Menards. We carry a great selection of interior lighting products. Check out the Leaf Island light. Its stylish design will add a modern touch to any kitchen with its satin nickel frame and graphite accents. Just $149. The Brooklyn Island light comes with vintage style bulbs and has an industrial feel. Right now it's only $189.99. Save on everything you update your home now at Menards. Price is good through Sunday, January 31st.
Save big money at Menards.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers for home daily dedicated lanes. A $2,000 sign-on bonus, medical, dental, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody or apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Don't put it off any longer. You know it's time. Time for a bathroom upgrade by Bath Creations. Bath Creations, serving the greater Dayton and Cincinnati area, is a leader in bathroom renovations, providing the best value in bath and shower remodeling, and proudly made in the USA. With Bath Creations, you get a beautiful modern bathroom that is safe, comfortable, and affordable. Attention first responders, veterans, and active military. Save $500 off your purchase. Visit on Poe Avenue in Dayton or online at mybathcreations.com and upgrade today.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Call It Propane has been serving the Buckeye Nation in the Miami Valley for over 65 years.
Let our family help protect your family from old man winter. Find out why 98% of our customers would recommend us to friends and family. Ask about the service options at 937-372-9194.
Family owned and operated for 3 generations, Call It Propane and Call It Seal Coating are proud to serve the Buckeye Nation.
Listen to this radio station on the radio.com app anytime, anywhere. Listen to more than 300 stations along with more than 3,000 podcasts from your home area or across the U.S. all free.
With the radio.com app.
If I'm not commuting anymore, where do I really want to live?
While you handle life's questions, Merrill Guided Investing helps you manage your portfolio and invest for your next move with the option to work with an advisor at a low cost and minimum. Merrill, a Bank of America company. Visit merrilledge.com/investing goals to get started today.
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, both a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor, member SIPC. Investment products are not FDIC insured or not bank guaranteed and may lose value.
Upgrade to the wiper blades trusted by Rainer Zietlow to break world records. Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades are real-world proven for extreme weather performance that lasts 2 times longer than other blades. The new Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades are only available at Walmart.
There's only one original stuffed crust, and it's only from Pizza Hut. The only place that gives you up to 3 toppings on your original stuffed crust for just $11.99. Order yours online at pizzahut.com. Ask or click for limited time offer. Extra charge for more toppings and extra cheese. Exclusions apply.
Looking for an easier way to find your next call center or accounting job? It's time to get to know Express Employment Professionals. Find a location near you at expresspros.com.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays at 3 p.m. on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
So you want to talk about outliers? Those guys are outliers. You're lucky that this thing's separating us. That's all I got to say. For facts, though. I got your facts right here. I got your facts right here.
Listen, stream, and now watch. Search the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook to follow along. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER and ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
Continuing on our list of our way too early top 25 teams for the 2021 college football season, because we, well, apparently didn't get enough college football. We didn't. Although it was a weird year to where I almost felt like, and you talked about this too, I almost felt a little sense of relief when the season ended. Mm-hmm. Just because I felt like we closed the door on the COVID season, which I think it's a little too premature to act as if it still would impact next year. But I think right now everyone is trying to remain as positive as possible, no pun intended, about, returning to somewhat normal next season. I don't think you're going to see sold out stadiums in 2021. I don't anticipate that, but I do believe that you will see more. I don't think you'll see any conferences say no fans at all.
Right.
I think you'll just see more fan restrictions, even if the vaccine is still well in full. Right? Like, do you anticipate that? I don't anticipate, at least for this calendar year, I don't anticipate any sold out stadiums. It may be another 2 years before you. When do you think we'll see sold out stadiums again?
Man,
maybe next season, not this season, the next season, 2022.
Yeah.
I mean, Great American this year is not going to be sold out, and they may not allow all fans either. But no, I don't think that, it's not going to be full capacity this year for any sport.
And it shouldn't. I don't think it should. I think it should wait. Wait it out. Get the vaccine out there and everything like that. Let's play it smart. Let's not rush into it just because we want it back so bad. Yeah, you can open it up a little bit more and gradually, but not just say like, all right, let's have a free for all, like a gradual reopening to everything.
I want fans back. Get your damn vaccines, folks, so we can get fans back in the stands. That's all I care about. No, I'm just joking. But no, I don't think it's going to be this year, with full stadiums. I think it's going to be 2022. But fans in the stands, I think is very realistic. Okay. Clemson number 1, Bama 2, Oklahoma 3, Georgia 4. The Buckeyes came in at number 5 again, as we talked about, a lot of question marks as far as what this team is going to look like offensively. For the first time in a long time, we have no clue who the hell the quarterback's going to be. And no, I don't mean, oh man, we don't know who the quarterback's going to be between JT Barrett and Cardale Jones. No, I mean, we don't even know who the hell these guys are.
Right.
We know their names. We know their high school accomplishments. But we don't know who they are. When we were wondering JT Barrett versus Cardale Jones, we knew what they looked like on a college football field. If you want to throw Braxton's name back in there, because it kind of was between the three, even though we knew that Braxton was going to basically be transitioning to a wide receiver, it was still we knew who they all were. Mm-hmm. The Joe Burrow, Dwayne Haskins thing, we kind of had an idea of both. We at least saw them in spurts. We were a little bit more familiar with who they were, but I guess that's kind of similar. I mean, Joe Burrow, very similar to kind of these kids that we're talking about here, where we don't really know who they are. We know what they're capable of. And that's kind of where we're at now. Jack Miller, C.J. Stroud, Kyle McCord. I mean, by the way, that Ewers kid that we're talking about for the next year, the number 1 prospect in college football, that's quite the for Ryan Day and the Buckeyes. But, you got to ask yourself, Kev, how prepared is that Ewers kid going to be? And I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. But, how prepared is he going to be when he gets to Ohio State? It could be a situation where C.J. Stroud, Jack Miller, McCord, whoever it's going to be, they may be the starter this year. But if that Ewers kid if he's everything is advertised, it may be a one and done for one of these guys, not as far as NFL, but as far as the starter for Ohio State. I see a lot of tough decisions for Ryan Day in the near future, which that's a good thing. Absolutely. If Ryan Day has tough decisions to make, that means he has too much talent at multiple positions. Never say too much. He has he's backlogged on talent, and that's a great thing to be if you're Ohio State and Ryan Day. So
you can never have too much talent on the team. This is college football where you can have as much talent as your scholarships allow. So the better the talent, that's a good problem, like you just said.
All right, so number 6, Texas A&M. We talked about that Jimbo Fisher year 4. It has Texas A&M, as a regular. They're at the top, not just competing, but competing for the top 4 spots when it comes to the college football playoffs. Mac Brown takes over North Carolina heading into year 3. I think the pressure is on. I think that he has to win. And that North Carolina, at the very least, needs to be in the ACC title game next season. They don't have Clemson on the regular season schedule. They do have Notre Dame in the non-conference. I believe that's still a non-conference game. There's been no, announcement as there being any kind of a continued relationship between Notre Dame and the ACC. I would not be surprised, though, and with so much uncertainty out there, I could see Notre Dame saying, hey, let's not even risk it. Let's just partner up again for another year. Mm-hmm. And let's, I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. If I'm Notre Dame, I keep the ACC close to me during this COVID pandemic.
Absolutely. That's a smart way to go.
So it's a good shot that, Notre Dame is, there again. But that's a good thing. If North Carolina is for real, they should not fear Notre Dame being in the ACC. But let's go to number 8 now, Iowa State. I'm tired of hearing about Iowa State. I think it's one of the most overrated programs out there. I think Matt Campbell's most over. I think he's talked about way too much for a guy that doesn't do jack whatever. Fill in the blank. Kev, what has he done to have his name? His name is constantly thrown out every single season for every big job that's available, and it drives me nuts because I'm like, what are you doing with what you have now?
Have you ever heard of Iowa State before you got there?
I don't care. No, I'm just joking. No, in all seriousness, it's like. I'm not a fan of it. When they start throwing his name out for the Ohio State job, I'm like, enough. What has he done at Iowa State to make you think that, and I get it. You could say the same thing about Cincinnati and Luke Fickell. And Luke Fickell, no one would want him at Ohio State, but we were doing that with Campbell.
I don't know, man. I like him. I like what he's accomplished at Iowa State. They come in with that mentality of 3-star players with a 5-star culture. Saying they're beating, they beat Texas. They beat Oklahoma last season. They played in their conference championship game, first time in a very long time. I think they're worthy of being up there. I did think they got a little too much love last year because they did lose opening their first game
to Louisiana.
And at one point in the season, Louisiana was undefeated and Iowa State had 2 losses, and Iowa State still was ranked ahead of them, which is super weird to me. But I think with Brock Purdy coming back again, I don't know how long he's been in school. He's been there for a while. I think they're worthy of being up there just based off of what they accomplished last year. I would like to see what they're going to be doing on defense this upcoming season, because I know they're losing their safety and their cornerback. That seems like they'll be mid-round draft picks in the NFL. So, they got a lot of things to worry about on defense.
Moving on to number 9, USC. And they're they lost quite a lot of talent. I just read, too, that their last 2, they only have 2 losses since 2019, both of them coming to Oregon. And when you talk about, okay, which team did COVID impact the most? USC is one of those. USC had a good shot at being a college football playoff team last year. Yeah. There just wasn't enough games in the Pac-12 season to really make any of the Pac-12 teams a viable threat to the college football playoff landscape. But USC, they bring back a Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback. Again, I'm just telling you, and Slovis. So, I get this is his 3rd year with the team. So it's going to be his 3rd year. Look, they have San Jose State, Notre Dame, BYU in their non-conference. They take care of those guys. I think they're I think USC, we could finally see a Pac-12 team back in the college football playoff conversation next year, and I think it's going to be USC. That non-conference, I like it because it's just good enough to get you the respectable wins you need to be in the conversation at the end when you take care of your conference. So I think USC is a playoff team next year.
For Clay Helton, the guy that people just want out of there so bad, they want to replace him. So, I don't know if USC wants to replace him, but it seems like the outside noise wants him replaced so bad. Like you said, they were that Pac-12 championship game away from being undefeated. And matter of fact, they weren't even supposed to play Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game. That's the crazy part. So that's how crazy last season was. They had to get a replacement team to play in the Pac-12 championship game, and kudos to Oregon for taking advantage of the opportunity that they got. But be on the lookout for them, man. They got a lot of offensive weapons. I really like Slovis. Just had a lot of come from behind victories. You do question, why are you down all the time in the 4th quarter? But, you capitalize on your opportunities in the 4th quarter and to win those games, man. So it's going to be very interesting out there in the Pac-12 next year, obviously with USC and Oregon as always.
For coming in at number 10, by the way, is Indiana out of the Big Ten.
Uh-oh.
They for everyone out there that was trying to argue that Cincinnati was the team that got screwed the most this past year, Indiana got screwed the most this past year. Cincinnati, you were left out of the playoff. You should have been left out of the playoff. You got a New Year's Bowl game, and to be honest, you didn't beat or do anything against anyone to deserve being on a New Year's Day game first over what Indiana did. Indiana got hosed. But regardless, I'm looking at what Indiana has next year. Coincidentally enough, Indiana has Cincinnati on the schedule, so I'm actually looking forward to that. I'm actually curious because, it's interesting to see Cincinnati go up against the top teams in the Big Ten, but a middle of the pack team like Indiana right now, it's a good test for both. For one, I think it's a good resume type game for Indiana if they're going to make any kind of noise in the Big Ten again like they did last year. They opened up at Iowa. They have Idaho. They have Idaho week 2, whatever, but the Bearcats in week 3, I'm actually really intrigued by that matchup because it's if Indiana beats Cincinnati, that's a big win for Indiana, but if Cincinnati beats Indiana, that's a huge win for the Bearcats. And the Bearcats have quite a few interesting non-conference games. They have Notre Dame on the schedule. They have Indiana. So I'm interested in that matchup the most. It's one of the matchups I'm most interested in as far as next season's concerned. But Indiana coming in at number 10, your thoughts on that?
I love it. Everything that they're doing at Indiana, I'm loving. Obviously, they lost their running back coach, Mike Hart. He went back home to Michigan and everything like that. But I'm loving what they're doing. Obviously, you want to see what goes on with the quarterback because he had knee surgery. Mm-hmm. So you want to see if he's able to come back and to play at the form that he did last season. So the future's bright if he's healthy.
The write-up on them, too, that their eyes are on the college football playoff, I think that's going to be difficult. Penn State's going to be better. Ohio State's Ohio State. Even though they did play Ohio State tough, Michigan State's going to be better. Michigan's Michigan still. You play at Maryland. Maryland's a team that, look, I'm not saying they're going to be good, but I think you can't look at Maryland as an easy win at all. Plus, it's Indiana. I don't think they've earned the respect to say that they are they're a guaranteed win over anybody. But that schedule's a gauntlet. Cincinnati, what would have probably been looked at as an easy non-conference game 2 years ago, that's a tough non-conference game. You open up at Iowa. You have Cincinnati week 3. You're at Maryland week 5. You have Michigan at home. You're at Penn State. You have Ohio State in Bloomington. But you're at Michigan State. Minnesota's Indiana could be a garbage team next year, but it's all said and done. They could be a 4-win team next year. It's a very tough. I think that's a tough schedule. That's going to be a tough full season swing for them. As we're running out of time, number 11, the Bearcats. The Bearcats, look, they pretty much bring everybody back. I thought Desmond Ryder coming back was huge for them. They pretty much, the one thing Luke Fickell had to do is learn to say goodbye to a lot of his top coordinators. Losing their defensive coordinator, I thought was probably the biggest blow for them this past offseason. That's not an easy guy to replace.
Yeah, Marcus Freeman from the area. Obviously, he went to Notre Dame. Not only was it a DC calling all the defensive signals and everything like that, one hell of a recruiter.
Yep.
He was the recruit. Everything that Luke Fickell did for Ohio State recruiting wise, finding these 3-star prospects like a Malcolm Jenkins and a Darren Lee, he was doing for UC. So that's something to keep an eye on in the future for UC. I don't know who they replaced Marcus Freeman with as a defensive coordinator down at UC. That's going to be interesting. But let's not get it confused. Luke Fickell knows how to call a defense. I mean, he won a national championship at Ohio State calling a defense. So he knows what he's doing. I got faith in Luke Fickell that he'll find the right DC to coordinate the defense. But the thing is, you're not hiding behind the woods no more. You're not the third place in the team in the American. You're the top dog in the American now. You know what I'm saying? Before you were behind Memphis and UCF. Now you're the big dog there. Everybody's going to be coming after you now. I mean, so you got to keep your head on a swivel. You got to be coming out ready to play. And much like you say, you can't have 35 to 21 ain't going to cut it. Unfortunately, those victories to the committee aren't good enough. You're going to have to stomp teams. So
especially stop teams within your conference. That's going to matter too. Number 12, Iowa. All right. I mean, they're just, again, Iowa's just a good, solid Big Ten team. Always they're right there in the middle of things. Oregon coming in at number 13, Washington 14. The Fighting Irish. All right. They have to replace, for one, Ian Book, who I feel like has been there forever, by the way. They have to replace him. He
could have come back.
Yeah, he did. He declared for the NFL draft, but Notre Dame coming in at number 15. The Florida Gators. Look, they're without Kyle Trask, Kyle Pitts, I'm interested to see where he ends up in the NFL. But, Kadarius Toney. Look, and then a guy that was supposed to go to Ohio State that actually is getting a lot of love right now, Trayvon Grimes, by the way. I don't know if you saw some of the highlights or some of the workouts he's doing right now for the Reese's Senior Bowl or whatever it is. He looks awesome. I think Trayvon Grimes could be a sleeper NFL pick that could, be a huge addition to some NFL team when it's all said and done. Wisconsin at 17, Ole Miss.
Do we get credit for that? Do the Buckeyes get credit for that?
Once a Buckeye, always a Buckeye, unless you're Tate Martell.
Just making sure.
The Raging Cajuns coming in at number 19. Go Tigers. LSU at number 20. Tom Herman out at Texas. Sarkisian takes over. His Longhorns coming in at number 21 on the way too early top 25 list. Penn State at number 22. Coastal Carolina and the Liberty Flames are 23 and 24. The mid-major hype is continuing heading into the 2021 season. And the Miami Hurricanes, who have a tough job ahead of them as they look to replace Tate Martell.
De'Aaron King coming off a knee injury. They got more transfers coming in, like we talked about earlier with Charleston Rambo, the wide receiver from Oklahoma. He's coming in there. They did bring back their tight end, who was a big-time playmaker for them. I think the biggest part for them is getting De'Aaron King healthy. Like, that's the key to their team. Like, without him, they would have been, last year. But
that was a gross injury, too, in that bowl game.
Yeah.
Of course, that was that was what everyone's always concerned about in playing those bowl games and everything is those types of injuries.
I remember it was the Orange Bowl where Florida State and Michigan were playing, and Jake Butt got hurt. And I don't even know if Jake Butt is in the NFL. He was supposed to be like the highest rated tight end going into that NFL draft. I don't even know if he's in the league now. And that's too bad, man.
Yeah, with a name like that?
I was going to say something else.
He's with the Broncos. But, I wonder if he made a butt of himself.
This guy.
What? He's probably the butt of a lot of jokes. All right, I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm just being the butt. My bad. A lot of butt jokes. Butt. All right, folks. Hopefully, I can mature before tomorrow's show, but who knows? The Hal McCoy conversation was great, man. I anytime we get to catch up with the Hall of Famer, it's always good. And of course, everyone on here do right away. They could listen to Hal McCoy talk forever. I could too. I'd rather listen to him than listen to me, and I'm sure you guys all agree. So there's that. But looking forward to continuing to talk to Hal here again as we get closer and closer to the season. Keep in mind, the Cincinnati Reds, a month from today, should be their very first spring training game. A month from today. I don't see it happening, folks. I don't. I asked Hal McCoy in our conversation earlier on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that the season starts on time? And he said a 3. I think that's actually being optimistic, to be honest with you. I don't know where he's getting the 3 from, but nonetheless, we're going to keep an eye on kind of the issues developing with baseball. My problem is we're a month out, and you still don't know if you're going to start on time. Typical baseball, man. Typical baseball. If you missed the interview, find it at wingame.com. Subscribe, download the Justin Kinder Show podcast in your Apple iTunes, Google Play Store. Shows in their entirety, select segments in all interviews like the ones we did with Hal McCoy. Kev, any closing thoughts?
Peace.
Take care, folks. Until tomorrow, Justin Kinder Show with Kevin Nash, 1410 ESPN Radio. Buckeye basketball coming up, 7 o'clock. A makeup game with Penn State at 7 p.m., 6:15 the pregame right here on 1410 Wing AM. Go Bucks.
It's the Justin Kinner Show.